This program is a collaboration of personal opinions and individual free thought. It does not represent the views or narrative of the mainstream corporate media hacks. Viewer discretion is advised.
And here we go.
Live from the bell tower, taking a stand for your rights, your liberties, and all the bullshit in between. You're listening to Break the Bell Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, happy Monday night. Good God.
Yes.
Starting out rough. What you got going on over there, Bill?
Everything wants to fall down on me tonight. So my flag dropped. I went to fix that. My microphone fell. Almost knocked over my energy drink.
I'm like, you got 5 seconds.
I know.
4. Just throw it on the
I'm
floor.
like, just don't stop moving.
And then I come on and my throat just gives out. My voice just gives out completely. So
Yes, well, it is a Monday.
it is
for
a
sure.
Monday. It is the end of getting towards the end of the year. We've done this at
Yes.
least 50 times this year.
At least, yes.
Plus all the weekend wrap-ups and all the extra shows we've done. So it's long overdue for my voice to just completely
Yes.
give out. It's long overdue for everything just to go to shit because might as well.
Right?
I mean, it's getting to that point of the year where it's hard to really take anything seriously.
It is,
It's like
yeah.
work. It's like you're going through work, and it almost feels like the build up to Christmas vacation in school, where it's just like, oh,
Yeah.
only a couple more. Then you
Right.
realize, well, I only get like a day off for Christmas, so
right,
fuck.
right.
It's just like, oh man, it's almost Christmas time, and then New Year's. It's just like, well, we don't get like the
Right, yeah.
3 weeks off.
And it falls on a freaking weekend this year.
yeah,
so.
and so I mean, we get a random day off in there,
Right,
but
yeah.
it's not the same. It's just
No.
like. You think after 37 plus years you'd finally get used to
Right. Not having that big time off
yeah,
anymore.
but no. So it's kind of like a bad case of senioritis. It's like
Right. Yeah.
the end of the year is here. Why are everything is just like
Yeah.
why are we doing anything?
Yeah.
Like everybody should just be required to take the final month of the year off.
Right.
I think it would make everybody happier.
I think so.
Would
Yes.
boost-
Yes. I think, don't they do that in Mexico?
I probably. I mean, and long naps.
In Denmark and
Yes.
Sweden and
Yeah, every other country but America. That's
Right.
why we're great, because we don't get time off for Christmas.
right. Yes.
So how's everybody doing out there? It's Monday night. I mean, clearly, we don't care about shit except this show. We care only solely about this show because
Yes.
we're never going to not care about you
And I
people.
made chocolate chip cookies before I came.
And you didn't bring any of
no,
them.
they weren't cooled off.
I will eat a hot chocolate chip cookie. I prefer
okay.
hot chocolate chip cookie. God, you're that dick. Like my boss comes in, you remember?
Oh, yes, yeah.
He come in the other day and he's like, I almost stopped for donuts today. Well, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, right.
Why
Then why are you here?
Why would you even say that though?
Right,
Like
right.
you thought about it, but you decided not to.
Yeah.
Don't say it. And then we're like, wow, donuts really be good. And so all I'm thinking about is donuts. And then the thought goes away because I get busy with office work and stuff. And then he's like, man, today would have been a good day for donuts. It's
And
like,
it's like,
you motherfucker.
Really? 2 hours in?
It's like, seriously? Twice? You did it twice.
Yeah.
And that's like you.
Yeah,
You know, I made
you're right.
chocolate chip cookies,
I know.
but I didn't bring any.
But we have a big Christmas party next weekend, and I will bring lots of cookies for that.
Do you know what we have next week? Next Monday,
I
speaking
do,
of
and
Christmas
it is
parties.
extravagant.
And it's very extravagant. Our third annual Christmas extravaganza, which I'm going to be making spiked eggnog, some
Awesome.
bourbon spiked
I love
eggnog,
it.
and I'm not going to bring any.
Oh, wow.
Not going to share
that
at all.
crashed fast.
Right, but the Christmas special is going to be extravagant because it's I'll share because I'm a nice guy. It's 3 years running. our third Christmas extravaganza, and it's going to be big. If you haven't checked out, if you haven't been listening long enough to hear our previous Christmas specials, go back and listen to them. They don't expire. They don't go bad. Like
They're classics.
yeah, they are. Go back and watch them. It's kind of like It's a Wonderful. I would put it on par with It's a Wonderful Life.
I would say
wouldn't
so.
you?
Yeah,
I
definitely,
mean,
definitely.
It's as
We should
wholehearted,
do
family
a
oriented.
black and white edition.
We should
put that out
we
there.
Should,
Just
we should do a
yeah.
black and white. We will be joined by Dan Smots, my brother, of the System Is Down podcast, and we were slated to once again be joined by Remzo Martinez, just like every other year, but he canceled on us. He had some family issues come up, so we're not going to give him shit this time for it. Next time we'll give him
Next time
shit,
we
but
will. Yeah, he's
but-
allowed a freebie.
yeah, he's allowed this one. So unfortunately, Remzo will not be here. So I filled his slot with not as good, but pretty awesome as well. The great, fabulous Dave motherfucking Casey. I don't know if you
Nice.
remember.
I don't think I've ever met Dave Casey.
We've had Dave Casey on our show.
We have?
Maybe you weren't here. Was that one you?
Yeah,
maybe
I don't
that
think
was.
I was here.
Maybe that was. Yeah, I think you were on vacation or
Okay,
something. And
okay.
I had him fill in, and he did a much better job than you. So.
Well, that's understandable.
So we're going to have Dave Casey on of the Dave vs. Goliath podcast, and he is always a blast to hang out with. So make sure you join that next weekend, or not next week, next Monday, December 19th, the Monday before Christmas extravaganza, number 3. We're going to have a lot of special entertainment. Last year we had a special musical number from Dan, which obviously was great. We had a special children's reading of Hookers and Blow Save Christmas.
Classic.
And we played some trivia games and all kinds of stuff.
was good.
We do everything that we don't like. The rest of the year we cover the stupid shit that
Yeah.
goes on in the world. On Christmas we make a point to take it off and just celebrate Christmas right. So
Yes.
if you haven't experienced that, make sure you show up specifically for that Christmas episode, because it's always
Yes.
a really good time. It's really the only good thing about Christmas anymore is
Right?
our
I know.
special.
Well, it's not commercialized, which is nice.
Exactly. It'll never be commercialized because we will never make money off of this. Speaking of making money, we got to mention our sponsors who are freedom-loving, free speech-loving coffee aficionados. Run Your Mouth Coffee. They make delicious coffee. They also support your right to run your mouth, hence the name Run Your Mouth Coffee.
And I did some Christmas shopping using them today.
You did?
I shopped with them.
Good.
Yes.
Good. Go to rymcoffee.com. Get some delicious, fresh roasted coffee delivered straight to your door. As we've been saying, did you wear pants while you were ordering it?
No, I specifically
Good.
took them off.
You took them off just
Yes.
like
Just so I could see what it felt like.
You're
You're
like-
like, that does feel better.
you know what Craig always says? I don't have to
Yes.
wear pants. Let me try
Yes.
this.
Yes, I was in my work van, but it worked.
Hopefully you were home, but apparently not. Support companies that support your rights, such as free speech. Support Run Your Mouth Coffee. Go to rymcoffee.com. Tell them we sent you by using the promo code BREAKTHEBELL, and you'll get 10% off your purchase, plus free shipping, and you'll have delicious coffee for Christmas presents. You don't got to wear pants. And you can tell somebody's like, what is this thing? What's this Run Your Mouth? And you open the door to like conversation about free
Yes.
speech, just like all the other things we do. It's opening those wonderful Christmas table conversations, kind of like our shirts at our web store, which is breakthebell.bigcartel.com. You can get I Won't Eat Your Bug shirt, the We Are Not Your Pawn shirts. We have the famous Is This Shirt Even Real shirt? All the wonderful conversation starters for
Yes, which
the
would be
family
great.
dinner.
Yes, great around the dinner table.
Yeah, so we got Run Your Mouth Coffee. We've got our shirts. That's as commercialized, I guess, as we
That's-
get.
yeah.
But a lot of options for Christmas gifts and a lot of options for family dinner table conversation starters. So
Yes.
if you like making like Uncle Joe uncomfortable, wear one of our shirts and give him Run Your Mouth
Yes.
Coffee, and you got a double hitter there.
Yes. You just have to record the dinner conversation.
You can find links to our sponsor. You can find links to our shirts and our web store and everything at breakthebellpod.com. Go there, check it out, hang out for a bit, shop, Christmas shop, do all that fun stuff because we have awesome stuff and we
do.
have awesome sponsors. So
Yes.
make sure you check it all out. We
Yeah.
haven't even mentioned what we're talking about today.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We haven't.
We're talking about Elon Musk and
Yes.
the leaking of the leaky Twitter files.
Yes. Yes.
Now, it grosses me out talking about leaky anything, but I'm going to keep using the word leaky because it'll keep people's attention. We're going to go watch this intro video. Man, I am like stumbling over myself.
Yes. You need more caffeine.
Maybe I had too much caffeine.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to go watch this intro video, and when we come back, we're going to talk about Elon Musk's leaky Twitter files.
The leaky files.
It'll be interesting. I'm not going to say anything else. We'll just get into this intro
Let's do it.
right now. We'll be back.
What did you say?
You talking to me?
What the heck are you talking about?
What did you say?
What did you say?
What did you say?
Are you talking to me?
Are you talking to me? Are you talking to me?
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
What are you saying?
What did you say?
Are you talking to me?
Well, maybe he was talking to me.
What did you say?
Talk to me.
What in heaven's name are you talking about?
Talk to me, baby.
Did you just say?
What did you say?
You listen to me. Are you talking to me?
Are you talking to me?
What the hell are you talking about? Who are you talking to?
So we've been in. How long would you say it's been that Musk has had the flagship now?
I'd say 3 months,
3 months?
maybe.
Has your opinion of him changed at all in 3 months?
It hasn't really changed. My whole thought was, let's keep an eye on this guy because I don't think he's the Lord and Savior that
Right.
everybody makes him out to be. I mean, he's doing some things that I approve of, and then he turns around and does some things. I'm like, no, I
It
don't. No.
Kind of like sickens me when I see conservatives and Republicans kissing his ass.
I mean, we talked about Kanye West last week.
right.
Is there any difference?
Yeah,
Any
no,
fucking
no,
difference
not at all. Not
it's
at
like
all.
anytime anybody says anything against the liberal media or the liberal politicians, they're like, "Oh, that's our guy right there. That's our guy." And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden, one of them turns around and is like, "And about you people," and they're like,
Right.
"Oh, we never liked Elon Musk."
Right, yeah,
I mean, he's
yeah.
a dangerous threat.
Right.
It's the same on both sides.
It
Like
is,
they kiss
yeah.
his ass until he turns around and says something against them.
Yeah.
Elon Musk is kind of like we talked about Trump and kind of like we talked about Kanye West last week. Elon Musk cares about Elon Musk.
Exactly.
And so everything he does is going to benefit him somehow. And I think all of his moves here are somehow strategically, intelligently linked to success of him.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
to make him hit the headlines, to make
Yeah.
Twitter stock boost, maybe make Tesla stock boost, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's a
business-
brand.
Yeah, he's
a brand.
businessman.
Just like Trump and Ye or whatever.
I think that's exactly what you said about this time about Kanye last week. You're
Probably
like, you know
was
what?
it-
Kanye's a brand.
Yes.
That's all he
Okay.
is a brand.
Well, I'm going to have that tattooed on my body
yes,
somewhere.
he's a brand. Your wife's gonna see it and be like,
Who's a brand?
don't worry about it. So ever since he took over Twitter, though, a couple months ago, he's been ruffling feathers.
Yeah.
And intentionally so, obviously.
I
It's like,
think so, yes.
I mean, he was always on Twitter, always like kind of trolling Twitter a little bit, but
Yeah.
I think he's stepped up his troll game.
He has.
Do you think it's, as the owner of Twitter, he should step up his troll game, or do you think maybe he should take more of like a side role?
Yeah, I
of-
think he needs to take a knee down. I think he needs to kind of back off a little bit and just let it happen instead of just trying to perpetrate the violence.
Yeah, well, he doesn't seem to.
No, and he won't. He
Yeah,
won't.
he doesn't care about ruffling
Yeah.
feathers. He insists on ruffling feathers, and sometimes that comes to the detriment of the liberal politicians and the liberal media, and we're all like, oh, Elon Musk is this great hero, and it's just like, is he though?
Right.
You
Well, how
know?
many billionaires do you see that are so active on social media?
Right. Yeah, that's fair too.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot. You don't see. Well, you wouldn't find Mark Zuckerberg. I don't think super.
Right.
But
Thank
do you
God.
see Mark Zuckerberg active even on Facebook? though?
No.
Not really.
No,
I mean,
on
you'll
Meta,
see-
he might be dancing on tables.
maybe he is. I don't know. I'm not.
I wouldn't get on there to check.
Right. So, this Twitter dump. This leaky Twitter dump. That's what I should have titled this. The leaky Twitter dump.
It changes everything.
I'm going to change the title. Can I change it in real time? I don't know. I don't know if it's possible. Let's see. Nope, it's not going to let me change it in real time.
Sure.
The leaky Twitter dump that came out this. I mean, it's been the talk of the news all this week. I mean, is it? We'll get into it deeper. Obviously, we haven't talked at all about it.
Right.
But what was it? A big smoking gun? Like, from what you read, was it this big smoking gun that the right is at least making out to be, and what he kind of teased that it would be?
Yeah, no, I don't think so because it's everything was suspected anyways. It just wasn't exactly out
Wasn't
in the
it
open.
suspected? It was known.
Yeah, it was known.
like
Yeah,
a known
everybody knew what
secret.
was going on.
None of it to me was a super smoking
Right.
gun. We'll talk about it, and then
Yeah.
we'll see if our opinions change as we go. But from what I saw, it was I was
Yeah.
just like, oh, this is it. The hammer's about to
Right,
drop,
right,
and
yeah.
it dropped, and it's just like, okay, where's the hammer?
Right, yeah, right.
Where'd the hammer go? So
Yeah.
let's just jump right into this. Back in November, Elon Musk teased that he was gonna have a leaky dump. It's like, guys, just so y'all know, here in a couple days, I'm gonna have a leaky dump.
I'm feeling regular.
So he teased of this file release that was supposed to be all this like evidence of free speech suppression. So I got this article here. This is from Fox News, Fox Business, not Fox News. There's a difference.
There is.
Elon Musk teased Twitter files on free speech suppression. He says the public deserves to know. Starts out, Elon Musk on Monday, so that, like I said, this is back in November. Elon Musk on Monday teased forthcoming files that will reveal how and why Twitter suppressed certain accounts at the expense of free speech. The Twitter files on free speech suppression soon to be published on Twitter itself, Musk tweeted Monday without elaborating. The public deserves to know what really happened. It sounds like the ultimate teaser.
Right, yeah.
It's like, this Tuesday on the Twitter files.
Dun, dun, dun.
What the public deserves to know. Do you know what really happened? Says critics, particularly those on the right, have long criticized the platform for what they regard as unfair and obscure standards regarding which accounts are censored or suspended. The tech giant permanently banned former President Donald Trump from the platform in 2021, blocked the New York Post story on the Hunter Biden notorious laptop, and locked conservative satire site The Babylon Bee out of its Twitter account in March for awarding transgender Biden administration official Rachel Levine a fictitious Man of the Year award. I didn't realize that's what Babylon Bee got kicked off for.
Yeah.
Last week, Musk responded to a tweet from Alex LaRusso, executive producer of The Benny Report on Newsmax, who argued that Musk should make Twitter's internal discussions to censor the Post's Hunter Biden laptop story. So this guy, Alex LaRusso from Newsmax, says, hey, you should make the internal discussion of suppressing the Hunter laptop story. You should make that public. And Musk came out and responded, this is necessary to restore public trust. So it makes you wonder, does this guy put it in Musk's brain? He's like,
Right.
oh, you know what? That would be a good idea.
Right.
We should release this. Or was Musk already planning on releasing stuff? And he's like, I need to get a guy to ask a question. It's like, do you know what would be great, Bill? What's that, Craig? You should,
right.
is it really obvious that, I mean, was this blatantly like kind of set up by Musk? It's like, you should ask this question, then I'll respond to it.
By George, you're right. I should.
You're not even talking in your microphone.
By George, you're right. I should.
There you go. Says Musk, who has described himself as a free speech absolutist, said he acquired the platform because it is important to the future of civilization to have a common digital town square where a wide range of beliefs can be debated in a healthy manner without resorting violence.
Now, would you say he is a free speech absolutist?
I was going to ask you that. No, I don't think so, because he banned Kanye West
Yes.
for
that
posting
realism symbol.
Yeah, for posting his like bizarre Nazi/Jewish logo,
yeah.
and he's just like, "This is dangerous. This is like inciting violence." It's like that sounds like old Twitter,
Right.
It sounds like old Twitter speaking. It's
Yeah.
like, wait, how is this inciting violence?
Yeah.
Wait, I remember asking that question 6 months ago to old Twitter. So Musk, new Twitter, is sounding a lot like old Twitter.
Yes.
So free speech absolutist,
Yeah.
not so much.
Yeah, I mean, if it was truly free speech absolutist and truly a town square, let him put it out there and let the crowd react.
Yeah, let the people
Yeah.
like berate him for
Exactly.
his stupidity
Yeah.
for choosing to choose this. But I feel like he misrepresents the term absolutist. He's not aware of the definition of absolute.
Right.
That means
Yes.
like all free speech. That means everything
Yeah.
is allowed. It's like a free open
Yes.
forum.
Like it or not, it's there.
Now, are you a free speech absolutist? Do you feel like Twitter should just allow any form of all free speech?
I do.
Like, including hate speech. Like,
Yeah.
what if, like, 30 Nazis gang up on some Jewish guy and it's like, I'm going to fucking kill you, and you think that they should just be allowed to just continually do that?
Yeah, I do.
I feel like I think that I do, but at some point, it's just like,
But I mean,
some people definitely abuse the freedoms.
they do. But if you saw that, would you not come to his defense?
I would, sure.
Yeah, and I'm sure lots of other people would too.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel like it should be a thing, but I also see how platforms turn really trashy really quick.
No, they do, and I guess that's where you have to say. But I don't think you should say, "Hey, I'm a free speech absolutist. We need to have an open forum for all free ideas," and then come back and be like, "Except for that
Except
one,
for
that
your
one,
idea.
and that one."
Yes,
right?
and
I
that
mean,
idea. And
say
Alex
it-
Jones is not
Right.
allowed on. And
I mean, say it what it is. If it's like, well, we want to support like a healthy. So any hate speech, we're gonna kind of phase out.
Now, do you believe in because we'll get into the shadow banning shit.
Yeah.
What about like, I don't know, like bumping down some of that like hateful shit, not letting it like get really viral?
Yeah, I'm fine with that because
You're-
the people that want to find it are gonna find it.
So you're fine with shadow banning
Yeah,
to an extent.
To an extent, yeah.
So
But again, it's okay. And here's the problem though, with the shadow banning is it going to be like, oh well, you don't agree with the vaccine, so we're gonna bump you down here, or oh you think Trump should be president, so we're gonna bump you down here.
so where do we draw the line then?
Well, but that's the thing. It's like if you're going to shadow ban, what's your criteria? Is it hate speech? Is it discrimination? Or is it just somebody offering different ideas?
I see the whole shadow banning thing. To me, I feel like everything should just be organic anyway. There shouldn't be algorithms that there's algorithms that bump certain posts and make them viral when it's just like, why am I seeing this constantly?
That's what old Twitter, Facebook, and Google are. You know,
It's like, why? Like, it's like everybody's talking about this. No, you're just putting that out in front of it. It should be all organic. It's like the hate speech might spread a bit, but I think it's safe. I feel maybe this is just because I'm a white guy. It's safe to say that the ultra like terrorist type KKK hate speech, it's very minor compared to like everybody else out there.
Absolutely.
So I feel like if it was all organic and there wasn't like, hey, I can pay to get this thing boosted, or I can hack these, not hack, but like figure out the algorithms to say the right things to get these things to trend. If it was just organic, it's not gonna get that far.
Right. No, and you're right. And I guess that's what I was meaning as well. So not like a forced shadow banning, more of like let the crowd decide what is worth talking about.
That could get dangerous too, but do you want free speech or do you not want
I was
free
gonna
speech?
say, I mean, free speech is dangerous.
Democracy is a danger threat to itself.
It is. Absolutely, it is.
So
that's why it doesn't last long.
Yeah, I mean, that's why what was that Time article we talked about after the election that was just like we had to work to protect democracy by like basically throwing democracy out the window for a brief moment to save democracy from itself.
Right.
So, I mean, it's dangerous. I mean, free
is.
speech is dangerous. You're
And that's
gonna
why
get
most countries don't have it.
yeah. I mean, maybe that's what's wrong with us is we do allow free speech. I mean, I sound like I'm talking against it, but I'm being facetious here because it is dangerous. I mean, there is the option that shitty ideas might get out in the public, but I feel like we've dumbed down society by telling them, "Hey, we're gonna think for you and tell you what not to hear and what you should hear," instead of letting people decide for themselves. Because God forbid they make a dangerous decision on their own.
And that's the problem we've ran into with things like the Hunter Biden laptop and the vaccine. Is like, well, we thought it was maybe fake news, so we didn't want to put it out there. Right.
So we've got he came out and teased, "Hey, we're gonna have this massive dump." And I'm going to say massive dump as many times as I can on here. A lot of the initial dump, at least, seemed to surround the Hunter Biden laptop story.
Yes.
And that's what that Alex guy, I can't think of his name, but he was talking about was like, hey, release all the information about the Hunter Biden laptop story. And so I feel like we got to rewind a little bit
let's do it.
And talk. Maybe not talk a ton about it, but let's just recap what that whole thing was, because it's almost the whole key points of that laptop story have kind of been memory hold.
Right.
Because we think about, Hunter Biden doing crack and
hookers and blow.
Hitting up with hookers and blow Save Christmas and shit like that. But we forget the parts where he was doing shady deals on the behest of his father, who was the vice president at the time.
Yes, with shady countries.
Yeah, and so let's. This is the original. This is the OG article that got censored.
I'm surprised they
from
still
Twitter.
have that out there.
Yeah, I found it. It's still floating around. This is the New York Post article that got banned from Twitter for like 2 weeks straight. It says smoking gun email reveals how Hunter Biden introduced Ukrainian businessman to VP dad. So right off the bat, you see.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with Hunter Biden's hookers and blow.
Right.
And everything to do with the shady dealings between Hunter and his dad and Ukraine and China and Burisma and all these shady dealings that he had. Hunter Biden introduced his father, then Vice President Joe Biden, to a top executive at a Ukrainian energy firm less than a year before the elder Biden pressured government officials in Ukraine into firing a prosecutor who was investigating the company, according to my screen's like freezing up. So remember, there was like Joe Biden threatened Ukraine into firing that prosecutor that was looking into the Burisma dealings.
Right.
And then Trump came out and was like, basically threatened to withhold certain funding to Ukraine if he didn't give him the info on Biden. And then Trump got impeached for it because he's threatening Ukrainian officials and withholding money. But they long overlooked the fact that he was doing that in response to Biden doing the exact same damn thing. Only this one was for personal reasons.
Right.
Like his family business, not
like his son.
I mean, Trump's was for personal reasons to have juice on Biden for the election and stuff, but Biden started it.
Yes.
I mean, I know that's the childish,
it is, but it's true.
It's childish excuse there. Well, he started it, but nobody's come out. Well, I'm sure they have, but nobody came out and impeached Joe Biden over this yet.
No.
But we impeached Donald Trump, or we attempted to.
Shit, what was I going to say? Oh, and that was Twitter's excuse is that, well, we learned certain lessons during the 2016 election, so we didn't want to repeat those for the 2020 election.
Yeah, the October surprise that always involves a secret laptop and secret email conversations and shit. It's like the same playbook every 4 years.
Yeah.
The never-before-revealed meeting is mentioned in a message of appreciation that Vadim Pizarski, an advisor to the board of Burisma, allegedly sent Hunter Biden on April 17, 2015, about a year after Hunter joined Burisma board at a reported salary of $50,000 a month.
Wow. I need that job.
Right. Well, you need a rich dad who has political contacts. You need to be the son of a vice president of the United States.
Yes.
And then, I mean, what are your qualifications for this job? Well, my dad's the vice president of the United States. Oh, shit. $50,000 a month. Sound good to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds
Hookers
about
and
right.
blow?
Dear Hunter, Thank you for inviting me to DC and giving me an opportunity to meet your father and spend some time together. It's really an honor and a pleasure," the email read. I mean, that's not damning there, but you can tell how there was, he was obviously had the hookups between him and his father.
Right.
So those emails alone aren't super damning. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, thanks for allowing me to meet with your father. Damning part is Biden had come out previously and said, I don't know anything about, like, we've never spoke about his business dealings.
Right.
I mean, Hunter was already being investigated for some shady dealings. And Joe Biden's like, don't know anything about it.
Right.
Well, these emails clearly show it's
He
like
knew.
you had a fucking meeting with his business partners. What
Right.
are you talking about?
It's like you guys are in business together.
Says other material extracted from the computer includes a raunchy 12-minute video that appears to show Hunter, who's admitted struggling with addiction problems, smoking crack while engaging in a sex act with an unidentified woman, as well as numerous other sexually explicit images. No, those things aren't damning to me.
No, that's on probably every celebrity's laptop.
I don't give two shits about Hunter Biden's dick
Right.
pics or
Right.
His
he's
addiction
hooking up
problems.
with.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, I'm sure you go look at G.W. Bush's laptop. Well, was there laptops back then?
No, I don't.
His
think
Palm
there was.
Pilot? I don't know.
But if you remember,
His Rolodex?
his daughters were pretty famous for their party exploits.
Whose daughter? Oh,
GW
oh, yeah.
Bush's. So I'm sure if video would come out of them or
I mean,
something.
GW is
Yeah,
pretty
he was quite
famous
the party
for,
animal
he was
as well.
He was a coke addict
He
back in
liked
his
his
day.
coke.
Oh yeah. And they all like. I mean, how do you think they get to the spot they're in?
Right.
It's not through hard work. It's through hard coke use
Right. Yeah.
and
Hard
connection,
connections.
high level connections.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Hunter Biden and
Yeah.
Joe, the big guy. You remember they called
Yeah.
him the big guy.
And the big guy calls himself that.
I don't want to hear Joe Biden call himself the,
The
big,
big
guy. That's not what Hunter calls him. You know what Hunter calls him?
No.
Pedo Pete.
Does he really? Hunter calls his dad pedo.
Oh
Pete?
yeah, there's like a journal or something out there or like some text or something. He refers to Joe as Pedo Pete.
Oh my.
Yeah, and the fact that you haven't heard this means it's not out there nearly
No,
enough.
No.
Look up Pedo Pete, please.
I'm afraid to.
So that's kind of a recap. That was the story there.
Right.
That got banned from Twitter. So that was in October. It was released October 14th of 2020.
Okay.
So right before the election.
Yeah.
Which, if you don't know, the election is the second week in November. So you're talking 3 weeks.
Now, if this got out into the public, do you think it would have had an effect on the election with everything
Well, it
else going
kind
on?
of it did get out in the public, but then it immediately was fake news.
Right.
Russian hackers, Russian
right.
bots, Russian.
Yep. I remember the Wall Street Journal coming out and calling it all fake.
Well, you got to realize,
Not
Like-
Wall Street
like-
Journal. I'm sorry, New York Times.
like 2016, we talked. Hey, that was a laptop, the Wiener laptop. What is it with?
Yes.
What's with it and wieners on laptops?
Yeah, it's a political thing.
I guess because that thing came out in October.
Right.
And then that spiraled into the Podesta emails. That spiraled into Pizzagate. It spiraled into the Comet Ping Pong, where guys going in with AR-15s trying to find the secret hidden basement in
Right.
Comet Ping Pong. And I feel like that whole thing, I feel like there was probably a lot of truth there. I don't want to get kicked off YouTube, but I feel like there was a lot of things thrown in there to make it just look crazy enough to where this thing pops up in 2020 and they're like, do you want another Pizzagate, guys?
Right,
Do you really want another
Yeah.
fucking Pizzagate?
Yeah.
And obviously that was Russian misinfo. This clearly has all the freaking earmarks of that same, of the Pizzagate scandal. So obviously this is Russian misinfo
Right.
too. So instantly it was deemed fake news.
Yeah.
And Twitter jumped on board with it. It's like, nope, it's fake news. We're going to ban it for no reason at all.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember any other period of time where an article, even one that could have, even a blatantly made up article, let's say all this was fabricated,
Right.
to where social media is just like, no, we're not going to allow this. You're not going to be able to share it. You're not even going to be able to like private message it on our account. We're blocking it across the board. Have you heard of this, of any other article?
No, I have not.
What does that do for the article, first of all?
Well, I think it makes people curious. They want to see what it says.
It gives us some kind of,
Yeah.
especially from the conspiracy theorists.
Right.
It's like, well, if they're that hardcore about covering this up,
There's got to be
there's
something
something
good in
here.
it.
There's got to be something juicy here. And then more people go looking for the article, and screenshots are a fantastic thing. Even if this got removed from the internet, it's been at least screen capped 50,000 times.
Yeah.
So Twitter locked out the article and also banned the New York Post completely until October 30th is when they finally were like, I guess we'll let you back on to Twitter. We'll get into this. They had no policies really saying, hey, we're going to block you for this. It was very based on very little. It's just like, no, you're not going to, you can't post that. You can't say that. And it's like, well, based on what policy? The policy they cited was the sharing of hacked information. Even though there's no evidence or no proof at this time or any time that this was ever hacked information.
Right.
It was, hey, this was a laptop that got turned over.
But weren't they concerned with how they got the laptop?
Oh, yeah.
Because it was, what was it, a maid found it in a hotel room and gave it to Rudy Giuliani?
No, it was somebody had dropped it off to a weird computer
that's
repair,
right,
like an
that's right.
obscure
Yeah.
computer repair guy.
Not even Geek City or whatever.
I feel like it's bizarre that somebody would just go drop off a Hunter Biden laptop to some hole-in-the-wall computer repairman.
Yeah.
I feel like they probably have their own computer repair guys on staff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really bizarre how this got out. And then somehow that computer repairman was like, you know who I'm going to give this to? Rudy Giuliani.
Yeah, because that's the name that pops on my mind.
Yeah, it's just like, this is pretty bad. I'm going to give this to Rudy. Why?
Yeah, right. Well, he was mayor during 9/11, so.
Oh, okay. There you go. So this here talks about Twitter backing down finally on October 30th, so you're talking 2-week ban of a major publication. So it kind of seems like censorship, like violation of free speech a little bit here, like the cover up of certain information, maybe some election meddling. Would you call it election meddling at this point?
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah. Says, this is from Fox News. It says, Twitter lifted its suspension of the New York Post main account Friday, October 30th, ending a weeks-long standoff after the social media giant punished the newspaper for tweeting its explosive report about Hunter Biden. Big Tech faced significant backlash after Twitter and Facebook attempted to suppress the Post report, which included published emails that allegedly came from Hunter Biden's laptop. Twitter went to extremes by not even allowing users to share the article. So this policy of not even allowing it to be shared over like private messaging, this is usually reserved for like child porn and shit like that.
Yeah.
Like really bad things. It's just like, yeah, you can't do that. You can't even share that. We're not even allowing this anywhere. And so they chose this thing that was usually reserved for child porn and applied it to Hunter Biden's laptop story. That's how serious this was for them. Because
maybe they thought that's what they thought it was going to be.
Well, I mean, there was Hunter Biden's sex tapes out there, but not in the. I mean, in the laptop, yes, but New York Post wasn't posting pictures
and
of
videos.
Hunter Biden's dick out there in videos of Hunter Biden doing coke or doing blow off some hooker's ass crack or anything like that. It says here, Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey admitted this week that his policy of forbidding anyone to tweet out the Post Hunter Biden report was a mistake. However, the company's position had remained that the newspaper must delete the original tweet in order to regain access to its account. So it's like, yeah, it was kind of a mistake, but we're not going to let them back on until they delete their post.
Because that's our policy.
They didn't delete their post, and they fought it, and then 2 weeks later, finally were allowed back on. But by then, the damage had been done. Everybody's already convinced that this is fake news. This is Russian misinformation. This is obviously Donald Trump. Remember, they were looking into Rudy Giuliani going to Russia and receiving information from the Russians?
Yeah.
What happened there?
Yeah.
Because I remember us talking about that. It's like, apparently Rudy Giuliani went to Russia.
I think he's still under investigation for that.
Really?
Yeah.
How long is that investigation going to go on for?
It's the
Does
government.
it matter now?
I was gonna say by now they're like, well, shit, we're kind of in it, so we might as well see where it goes.
Yeah. At what point do they say? I mean, does Giuliani have too much credibility at this point?
No.
Is it
No.
like really? I mean, it's kind of like them keeping after Alex Jones. It's like, well, 225 million. That's not enough. Let's go 3 trillion. It's like
Yeah.
the damage is done.
Right. Yeah.
Let's stop wasting resources
Yeah.
on chasing Rudy
do you
Giuliani
think
to
he's
Russia.
learned his lesson by now?
Who? Giuliani or Alex
Jones.
Jones? Probably not either one of them. Fast forward to today. Like I said, Elon teases that he's going to release the communication of this.
Right.
He's like, guys, we're going to do this.
Right. You need to see this. It's about trust.
Yeah. It's about restoring trust to the company.
Right.
And that's probably more than anything. It's not like it's important that people hear the truth so we can prevent this from happening. It's like, I want people to like my company again.
Right. Yeah.
I want people like from the right to start trusting Twitter again.
Yeah.
But then you're kind of pissing off the
I was
people
gonna
on
say
the
the
left.
left is like, yeah, we're gonna go to whatever's.
But
there.
are they though?
Probably.
Are
not.
they leaving?
No.
I keep seeing.
It's like the people that are like, well, if Trump's elected, I'm gonna go to Canada.
Yeah, I keep seeing that they're leaving.
Yeah, right, but they're
I
not
keep
leaving.
seeing them still there,
Yeah,
saying
they
that,
keep saying they're gonna leave.
but they never go anywhere. Beto is here. Beto
Hey,
says,
Beto.
"This is pure authoritarianism. It's the stuff of nightmares and revolutions. We're not going to just let it go. But seriously, who's going to hold them accountable?
Right.
Elon Musk is going to hold them accountable."
Yeah.
So that's the thing. It's like there's real shit in here. But at the end of the day, does it change anything?
Right.
It might change Twitter's policies,
Yeah.
but the rest of the media is still going to keep doing what the rest of the media does.
Yeah.
Facebook will keep doing it. I don't know. All the rest of them will. I don't
Yeah.
even know.
Well, and you know, it's gonna get to the point where Twitter's kind of like almost like Fox News or Parler, and they're like, oh, well, you heard that on Twitter, so
yeah,
that doesn't
we
count.
can't. Can we really trust
Right,
Twitter?
yeah.
That's right-wing propaganda,
Yeah,
obviously.
exactly.
Even though Musk is, I wouldn't even consider Musk right-wing. He's come out and like claimed to be support communism before. So
Right.
I don't know what Musk is. Musk
No.
is Musk.
Yes, Musk is Musk, and you have to look at him in that microscope.
Yeah,
right.
Musk.
If he's influencing you, then you need to find new role models.
Right. Musk cares about Musk
Yes.
and
His
what-
company.
how Musk is affected
Yes.
by things. He was probably like somehow affected by this ban, and he's like, I'm going to bring them all these fuckers down
Right.
for this. So fast forward to today, December 2nd. So you're talking a few days ago.
It's about
The
time.
first leak dropped. And like I said, Musk didn't do it because that would kind of seem like a conflict of
Right.
interest type thing. So Musk, or somebody at Twitter, probably Musk, handed it over to reporters. One being this Matt Taibbi, who used to report for Rolling Stone, I
Oh.
guess.
Okay.
And he used to be like praised by the left until he started like bashing on both sides, and then all of a sudden he's a right wing hack.
Of course, that's the way it goes.
And now they're like, well, he's just a what's the Substack. He's just a Substack
Oh,
reporter.
okay.
He doesn't have credibility. It's like, yeah, but you forget that he was like a major
Right.
reporter for Rolling Stone and other publications. So on December 2nd, like I said, the first drop happened. And I saw this in real time. I'm like, ooh, what the hell is this? Because it was just like all over my Twitter. So, my first question was, who the hell's Matt Taibbi?
Right.
Well, now we know. It says thread, the Twitter files. So I'm not going to read all these because the first ones are just kind of an introduction. It says, like, what you're about to read is the first installment in a series based upon thousands of internal documents obtained by sources at Twitter. Sounds like the intro to, like, those police dramas.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. What
Like-
you're about to hear is a true
This
story.
is true story. Yeah. So it's like the Twitter files tell an incredible story from inside one of the world's largest and most. It's so dramatic.
Yeah.
It's like just get on
Yeah.
with
Right.
it, man.
What's this freaking story?
So now we're at number 5. In early conception, Twitter more than lived up to its mission statement, giving people. It's like, come on. It's like post after post after post, leading
Right.
like the buildup was exhausting. And then finally, somewhere down here, he gets into it. It says, by 2020, requests from connected actors to delete tweets were routine. One executive would write to another, more to review from the Biden team. They would reply would come back handled. So it's like hinting around that Biden's team, not Biden, obviously, he can't do things.
No.
But his
Eats ice
team
cream.
would be like, here, take a look at these tweets. Like, do something about these. These are problematic tweets. And then they would respond, we handled them.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds to me like a little government collusion and
Little
the
bit, yeah.
censoring of
Right.
certain Twitter documents or Twitter posts. It says celebrities and unknowns alike could be removed or reviewed at the behest of a political party. Both parties had access to these tools. For instance, in 2020, requests from both Trump's White House and the Biden campaign were received and honored. So it's not a
Yeah, it's
one-sided
both
thing.
sides.
Yeah, so it's not specifically pointing out, hey, the Democrat Party is No, both sides were able to reach out to Twitter and be like, I don't really like this post. This post makes me look bad.
Yeah.
Can you do something about this? And
Look, it was a late night. I had a burrito.
Yeah.
I was on the toilet.
Right.
Can we get rid of this?
says the system wasn't balanced. It was based on contacts. Because Twitter was and is overwhelmingly staffed by people of one political orientation, there were more channels, more ways to complain, open to left, Democrats than the right. The resulting slant in content moderation and decisions is visible in the documents you're about to read. However, it's also the assessment of multiple current and former high-level executives. Okay, there was more throat clearing about the process, but screw it. Let's jump forward. Can we just, we're at number 16 now, and we
Right,
still haven't
yeah.
got into this. Says the Twitter files, part 1. How and why Twitter blocked the Hunter Biden laptop story. So, again, this sparks from the laptop story. That's why we focused a little on it. On October 14, 2020, the New York Post published the Biden secret emails, an expose based on the contents of Hunter Biden's abandoned laptop. Twitter took extraordinary steps to suppress the story, removing links and posting warnings that it may be unsafe. They even blocked its transmission via direct message, a tool hitherto reserved for extreme cases such as child pornography, like I said. White House spokeswoman Kayleigh McEnany was locked out of her account for tweeting about the story, prompting a furious letter from Trump campaign staffer Mike Hahn, who seethed at least pretend to care for the next 20 days, is basically what he's saying to Twitter. This led public policy executive Caroline Strom to send out a polite WTF query. Several employees noted that there was tension between the comms/policy teams who had little or less control over moderation and safety and the safety trust teams. So this was her post. Are we able to take a closer look here? Thank you. So it's almost like there was lack of communication between them. Like some of them would take down something and like some execs would be like, why the fuck are we taking this down? What's our policy? Like, basically, what are we going to tell them? If they ask why, what are we supposed to say here?
Right.
So it says, although several sources recalled hearing... Okay, I forgot. It says, Strom's note returned the answer that the laptop story had been removed for violation of the company's hacked materials policy. This is what we mentioned earlier. Although several sources recall hearing about general warnings from federal law enforcement that summer about possible foreign hacks, there was no evidence that I've seen of any government involvement in the laptop story. In fact, that might have been the problem. So basically, they're like, well, this is hacked information, but there's no proof. Like, what they're going off of is the FBI or CIA or whoever came down in the summer and was like, be on the lookout for hacked information during this election cycle. And then this story came out, and they're like, well, obviously this is hacked information, so we got to get rid of it. And according to this, the government didn't tell them this, which I still have a hard time believing that the government didn't. And I feel like a lot of this leak is like playing nice to certain individuals.
Mm-hmm.
Like it very clearly says a couple times, like there's no proof that the government itself had a hand in this, even though previously on they were like, well, each political party could reach out and say, hey, this could be problematic. So you're telling me they didn't reach out during this one?
Right, this big one.
The big one here. no evidence. I mean, maybe they deleted the evidence.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe
and
they-
that would make more sense.
Yeah.
Because somebody's.
Somebody was like, dude, kill this now.
Yeah. Right.
It says the decision was made at the highest levels of the company, but without the knowledge of Jack Dorsey, with former head of legal policy and trust Vijaya Gaddy playing a key role. Didn't she become the CEO after he left? That Vijaya Gaddy. I know
Oh,
she was.
yes. Yeah. She got fired.
Was it a he or a she?
I thought it was a he.
I don't fucking know. It's a weird name. Anyway, again, kind of not throwing certain people under the bus. I
Right.
find it hard to believe that Jack Dorsey had no idea that this was going on under his nose.
Yeah. No, I would think they would take it to him first.
And they point this out several times without the knowledge of Jack Dorsey. It's like,
yeah.
is Elon and Jack Dorsey really buddy, chummy? Did Jack Dorsey come out and be like, I know you're going to release this, but can you please not smear my name and all
Right.
this? I'll give you $1 billion.
Yeah.
And he's
Right.
like, don't mention. If you mention Jack Dorsey, say he didn't know.
Right. Yeah. And that seems exactly what it was. Because, again, something this big, something that they're going to go pedo Pete protocols, and they're not going to bring it to Jack Dorsey.
I'm going to use that from now on. Pedo Pete protocols. I'm writing this down. Twitter has implemented as Pedo Pete protocol. What requires the Pedo Pete protocols?
Apparently anything dealing with presidential family.
Just specifically Joe Biden.
Yes,
president.
yes. That is, yes.
Can you imagine this story was on the reverse side? Can you imagine if
Oh.
Donald Trump, there was like a...
That shit wouldn't even pass go. It would be...
Don Jr.
yeah.
laptop got exposed,
Oh, yeah.
and he was doing coke off
Yeah.
some hooker,
Or
and
Ivanka.
Ivanka was hooking up
Oh,
with
damn.
Burisma higher
Right.
executives and introducing. I mean,
Yeah.
it would
Like I said,
even if it was blatant lie, like
Oh, yeah.
fabricated to its core, and came straight from
Yes.
Vladimir Putin's
oh,
mouth
yeah.
himself.
Oh yeah, yeah. It would not pass any protocols. It would be like, oh shit, I'm typing this out now.
All over everything.
Oh,
That's
fuck it.
all
It'd
you
be-
would see is
Yes.
Ivanka Trump
Yes.
did blow off Vladimir.
It would pop
Putin's-
up on the McDonald's drive-up menu.
Yeah, there would be no surprise.
No.
Emergency protocols, Pedo Pete
Yeah.
protocols that would come into
It would
play
interrupt
here.
Disney programming.
Yes, and maybe that's just us
Yeah.
being biased, but
Possibly.
no, that's what would happen.
It
We
is.
saw
We've
how
seen it
everything,
happen. Yes.
everything that Donald Trump orders a freaking Big Mac. It's
Yeah.
just like, oh, Donald Trump hates the.
Yeah.
I don't know. He hates vegetarians.
Yeah, right, yeah.
They made a story out of everything.
Yeah.
So if there was actually a story there, it would be the ultimate news. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
people would be calling for disqualifying him from the presidential race.
Yeah. Trump's in the garage. And he's like, I don't know. I just like hitting the button. And they're like, Trump likes hitting the big button.
So it goes on. It says they just freelanced it. So again, didn't talk to Jack Dorsey. They just freelanced it. It says it's how one former employee characterized the decision. Hacking was the excuse, but within a few hours, pretty much everyone realized it wasn't going to hold. But no one had the guts to reverse it. You can see the confusion in the following lengthy exchange, which ends up including Gaddy and former Trust and Safety Chief Yoel Roth. Comms official Trenton Kennedy writes, I'm struggling to understand the policy basis for marking this as unsafe. So it says, let's pull this one up. So Trenton Kennedy says, I'm struggling to understand the policy basis for marking this as unsafe. And I think the best explainability argument for this externally would be that we're waiting to understand if this story is the result of hacked materials. We'll face hard questions on this if we don't have some kind of solid reasoning for marking the link as unsafe. Katie says, will we also mark similar stories as unsafe? So basically,
That's a good
like,
question,
are
Katie.
we going to, is this across the board policy,
Right.
or is this just specifically for this story?
Yeah.
By this point, TB says everybody knew this was fucked, said one former employee, but the response was essentially to err on the side of continuing to err. So the conversation goes on with Yoel Roth saying the policy basis is hacked material, though as discussed, this is an emerging situation where the facts remain unclear. Given the severe risk here and lessons of 2016, back to the Pizzagate thing. Again, it's like, we don't want another Pizzagate, so we got to block this. We're erring on the side of including a warning and preventing this content from being amplified.
Even if they came out and said, hey, this information has not been verified.
How many times do they do that? They have fact checkers.
Yeah, they
and
have.
it's like,
Right. And
wrong,
so
wrong.
But even if they're like, hey, you can read this, but we're not real, we're not sure where this is coming from just yet.
I mean, how many times do you see a post from Russian Times that it's like, this is clearly from Russian media?
Yeah.
You probably shouldn't believe any of this.
But also, how many times after say a mass shooting do they jump the gun and they're like, this was definitely a white supremacist, right?
They find out it's some Mexican tranny.
Right, exactly.
In one humorous exchange on day one, Democratic congressman, so a Democrat, Ro Khanna, reached out to Gaddy to gently suggest she hop on the phone to talk about the backlash re-speech. Khanna was the only Democrat official I could find in files who expressed concerns. So it says, Gaddy replied quickly, diving into the weeds of the Twitter policy. So given all the bullshit, it says, Congressman Khanna, thank you for reaching out, and we appreciate the heads up. We put out a clarifying thread of tweets earlier this evening to explain our policy around the posting of private information and linking directly to hacked material. The press secretary account was not permanently suspended. We request that she delete the tweet containing material that is in violation of our rules. I'd be happy to jump on the phone if helpful. My team in D.C. are copied here and are available to discuss.
Did you say Jessica and Laverne?
Yeah, I think so. So that was her post to Congresswoman Congressman Khanna.
Yeah, and because that congressman was like, is this okay? Because this doesn't
Should
seem
we do
right.
this? This seems who was it? Gaddy responded, here's all our bullshit policy that we base this on, so I'll be happy to discuss it with you. But Congressman Khanna was like, no, I don't think so, because it says, hope you're well, Vijaya, but this seems a violation of the First Amendment principles. If there is a hack of classified information or other information that could expose a serious war crime and the New York Times was to publish it, I think the New York Times should have the right. A journalist should not be held accountable for illegal actions of the source unless they actively aided to the hack. So to restrict the distribution of the material, especially regarding a presidential candidate, seems not in keeping with the principles of the New York Times or the NYT versus Sullivan, which I'm guessing is New York Times.
I like this kind of. Where's this person from?
I'm not sure. I say this as a total Biden partisan and convinced he didn't do anything wrong, but the story now has become more about censorship than relatively innocuous emails, and it's becoming a bigger deal than it would have been. So basically, it's like, you're making this so much
like
worse.
we talked about.
You're making this so much bigger.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there's anything here, but you're making it so much bigger. So, I mean, we don't have to read all this shit, but you see...
Yeah,
this,
kind of
this
the
is,
thinking.
This is the initial... Smoking gun, though, in all this?
No, I don't think so. Like I said, this is something everybody knew. It just wasn't... it wasn't... We weren't given the backbone of what their thinking was behind it, but we knew what they did.
Yeah, I mean, this just adds some credence to it, adds some context to it, and
does it do them any favors, do you think? I mean, by showing it could be hacked and we have a policy against this, so maybe we shouldn't, we should redirect them or something. I mean, does it make it seem like Twitter was justified?
No, but I think what this does do, we all knew this shit.
Yeah.
This shit we already knew, but to make it so blatantly obvious, hey, this is a real thing. All it's doing is just sparking so much outrage to the point, Elon Musk talked about, we need to have free and open speech so we don't have this polarized social media echo chambers do no good. And then this comes out and it's like, well, you just reignited something that kind of was
kind of done.
Yeah, it was a done deal. We knew it was there. You didn't have to tell us.
Right.
Now, Do you think it changes anybody's minds on the other side, though?
No, they don't care because they'll find ways to justify things.
Now, I did see an article that was like, I think it was like 12% of Democrats said that if they would have known about the story, they wouldn't have voted for
really?
Joe Biden. I don't know if I believe that.
I don't, because
based on people's politics these days,
Right.
it doesn't matter. Like Donald Trump said, I could go out and fucking murder somebody in the streets and
Right.
nobody's gonna care.
Right.
Same on both sides.
And a lot of Facebook posts I saw from friends that were liberals were, who cares what a family member does? That's not who we're voting for. We're voting for Joe Biden.
But
So-
but again, we're overlooking the main part of that article, which was
Right.
this has a lot to do with Joe Biden.
Yes.
It's not just Hunter
Right.
Biden. It's not just the laptop.
Yeah.
It's not just the cover up of the story.
Right. But I feel like that's where if covering the story the way they did, or not covering the story the way they did, the thing that got kind of misconstrued was the fact that this, like you said, this has a lot to do with Biden and not Hunter. Because, like you said, nobody cares if Hunter is doing blow off a hooker's ass.
No, nobody
Right?
cares
But
at all.
they do care the fact that Biden is getting kickbacks for turning over national business or
Right.
giving up land or
Because do you think the New York Post would have even reported on Hunter Biden's doing blow off a hooker's ass? I mean,
that's
maybe
more the Inquirer.
yeah,
Maybe
well,
Breitbart.
Well, after this, remember they got deemed a tabloid.
Yes,
so
yeah,
so
right,
maybe
tabloid rag.
being that they are such a tabloid, maybe they would. But but the headline of that article said nothing about the illegal
Right.
like activities, like the
Yeah.
substance abuse or the hookers or anything like
Right.
that. The headline was connection between Joe Biden and
Yeah.
all these business connections.
And like you said, the same thing that Trump got nailed on with the Ukrainian guy is the same thing that Biden got away with fine.
Right, exactly. But we can't talk about that because
Right.
it's Russian misinformation. Now, I talked about how this dump, all it's going to probably do is inflame people even more, make people even more enraged.
Right.
Very first person enraged, Donald Trump.
Oh, really?
Did you hear what he said about this?
Oh, yes, I did see that. Yeah.
I don't know the context. Like, how,
and that's what I don't know is the context of it because
nobody else is talking about this
Yeah.
except like CNN.
Yeah.
But basically, CNN says that Trump calls for the termination of the Constitution over this.
Yeah.
Now, if this is real, and I could see him spouting off his mouth and
Yeah.
saying this in a fit of rage, does that solve our problems with censorship and free speech?
It makes it worse.
Says former President Donald Trump called for the termination of the Constitution to overturn the 2020 election and reinstate him to power Saturday in a continuation of his election denialism and pushing of fringe conspiracy theories. Now, let me ask you, do you throw the presidential election results of 2020 out and declare the rightful winner? You gotta, I mean, he's got all caps, so we gotta,
Oh, yeah.
rightful winner.
You know those little hands are swinging.
Or do you have a new election? A massive fraud of this type and magnitude allows for the termination of all rules, regulations, and articles, even those found in the Constitution. Now, what's he basing that off of? I do believe that's what he said.
No, I do believe he said that too because that seems exactly like what he would say. But I think that just shows his ignorance of why he had people helping him.
'Cause we know we had Donald Trump as president during
Yes.
the riots of 2020, and
Right.
he was like, "I'm gonna impose martial law," and
Right.
we're like, "No,
Yeah, don't
no, just stop."
Yeah.
Like, no, that, and then he comes out, he's like, "Do you know what we should do in response to election fraud? Is we should overturn the Constitution." It's like, what?
Right.
What?
Stop.
It's like you're kind of getting somewhere.
Yeah.
And then you're like, throw out the Constitution. And we're like,
Yeah.
all right, there's Donald Trump again.
Yep, exactly.
Now, do you think there's enough here to say election fraud, throw out even the election results?
No.
Like based on the Twitter,
No.
the Twitter leaks here. Again, we
No.
all knew it.
Yeah, we all knew it.
We all knew
Yeah.
that they were suppressing certain information.
Yeah.
And this is, again, I mean, it's a private company. I guess they're allowed to.
Yeah.
And even, I guess if the DNC was like buddy with Twitter and was like, here, let's shut that up, because I mean,
If there was an exchange of money, right? Okay, here's $20 million to keep this buried for another 3 weeks. Maybe.
so what would the solution be? Do you have a new election? Do you say nope,
No,
Donald Trump
it's-
should have won, or do you just let it ride?
You
for
gotta
the
let
next-
it ride.
I mean,
what's
like,
done is done.
2 more years.
Yeah,
2 more years.
Good,
Do we
good
really?
luck, man. You got. I wish you wouldn't run next time, but if you got to, you got to.
I mean, this could be like perfect ammunition for Trump in 2024.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then he runs his mouth and throws out, "We got
Right.
to terminate rules in the Constitution,"
Yeah. And that
people
becomes
like,
a soundbite for the next election for the other side. Now.
yeah. It's like,
Well,
you remember?
do you really want a president who wants to throw the Constitution out?
Yeah, this guy has denied election results for 2+
Yeah.
years, 4 years, and by 2024 he will have denied it for 4 years
Right.
because he's not stopping.
No, hell no.
And well, first he incited an insurrection,
Right,
a violent
January
insurrection
6th.
on January 6th, and he called for the termination of the
And
Constitution.
him saying that leads credence to the fact of people saying that he led an insurrection.
Well, I think they even get into that on this because where somebody said it. Oh, it was Liz Cheney, no less, a Republican, said that. So this was her tweet. Donald Trump believes we should terminate all rules and regulations and articles, even those found in the Constitution, to overturn the 2020 election. That was his view on 1/6 and remains his view today.
Yeah.
No honest person can now deny that Trump is an enemy of the Constitution.
Good job, Trump.
He's making it really hard to deny that he's an
Yes.
enemy of the Constitution.
But remember, I mean, when we went through the election thing and the blue books and how they saved democracy, they knew exactly what they were doing with giving Trump enough rope where he would hang himself.
Yeah.
And he continues to hang himself.
Maybe that was Musk. Maybe Musk is actually an enemy of Trump, and that was
Right.
his whole thing here. It's
Right.
like, I'm going to release enough. It doesn't really say much more than we already knew, but it's proof, and it's going to just infuriate Trump to the point where he just commits political suicide.
Right.
And overnight, he did.
Oh,
He's
absolutely.
just like,
He'd sit
well,
on the toilet and he's like, overthrow Constitution.
it's like, do we really want to stand for a constitution that just like,
Yeah. It's like, right.
stop, just put your fingers to bed.
Yeah.
Put your tiny thumbs to bed.
Yeah.
Stop. Just stop talking.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think of this so far? The Twitter dump.
Yeah, I mean, it makes you wonder. Like, okay, so is Musk really trying to set himself up as kind of like the savior of the people? I mean, is that, or at least the right wing? I mean, is that what? Because that almost seems like what he's really going for.
It does, and I don't know.
I
I
mean-
don't know. I'm still trying to figure out what Musk's end game is in all
Right.
of this.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
what does he have to gain by releasing this information?
Right.
I mean, maybe his thought process is more people will trust Twitter and they'll jump back on Twitter. They'll
Right.
know that I'm trying to make real change. But then you got the people on the other side that supported Twitter for the
Right.
last decade
Right.
that are like, well, he's a threat to democracy and blah 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 because he's allowing this hate speech. And I saw people that were like, he's putting people's lives in danger by posting these emails with their names and shit
Is
like
he
that.
I mean,
Well, I mean, there's probably a lot of people that hate these people.
well, probably, but I mean, do you think anybody hates them enough that they're gonna? I guess there are crazy.
There
people
are
out
crazy
there.
people out
There
there.
are crazy people out there. So, do you think that? I mean, maybe he's secretly like he's doing this on the public side, but on the private side, he's like setting up the algorithm where you get to see all the leftist liberal stuff.
maybe what he's doing, and this is, I mean, not outside of the realm of comprehension. Maybe what he's doing is testing to see how people respond to stuff so
Yeah.
he can program his algorithm to
Yeah.
respond in kind. Because we
Yeah.
talked about that
After January 6th.
after January 6th.
Yeah.
Like, all these people posting this shit. I mean, you're programming the algorithm for them.
You're right.
And maybe he posts these outlandish, bizarre things so he could be like, let's see what my algorithm thinks of this, or how can we respond to this? You know,
Yeah.
like he's posting things to generate severe responses.
Right. Yeah, and that would make sense.
And it could be dangerous if Elon Musk really isn't on our side like he says. I mean, you're talking about the guy that came out like 2 weeks ago and said that the FDA is almost about to approve brain implants.
Yeah.
That's scary shit there.
Yeah.
And this guy is like, maybe he's trying to program his AI bots
Yeah.
to be more realistic, and he's trying to generate the most like extreme responses from people, and he's just like programming this into my AI bot.
Yeah. No, I mean that's very feasible.
So I don't know. It seems like since he took over Twitter, it's like everything is to generate like severe responses.
Yeah,
like,
I think there was something he had posted something like oh gosh, was it something about who was on the naughty list, and then he said Fauci or
oh yeah, and I was gonna get there. He said
okay.
I think I got that to it. Well, I mean, we'll just pull it up now.
Sure.
We got to get to break, but we'll pull it up.
Oh,
he
pronouns,
tweeted out
that's it.
last week or earlier this week. My pronouns are prosecute/Fauci.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, what was he planning to gain from this?
Right.
You're talking about the guy that last year posted this. To be clear, I do support vaccines in general, and COVID vaccines specifically. The science is unequivocal. In very rare cases, there's an allergic reaction, but this is easily addressed with an EpiPen. What
Very
science?
interesting.
What science is he basing that off of?
Right.
Like, what side effects is he basing that off of? Because even as early as last year when he posted this, there was all kinds of evidence of brain clots and blood clots and strokes and myocarditis and all these things out there. But all that can be solved with an EpiPen, didn't you know? Now, this person, Representative Dean Phillips, responded to his "My pronouns are prosecute Fauci," said, "It's America. You can select any pronouns you damn well please. But Anthony Fauci has likely saved more human lives than any living person in the world.
Wow.
Shame on you."
Wow.
Man, he is on the cult. He's
No
on the Fauci
doubt.
cult.
He went to the
hardcore.
movie like 3 times.
Holy fuck. Saved more human lives than any living person in the world. Now, that's not what we're here to talk about, but you brought it up, so
Yeah,
I
no,
figured I'd pull-
but I was way off on the tweet, but yes. Something like that though is quite inflammatory.
Yeah. Now, do you see too many posts from Elon Musk? Because he talks about, he's like, I want to make this free-for-all, like where everybody can equally share opinions and live in perfect harmony and hippity-dippity shit. But then he throws out these super inflammatory or like super like charging posts.
Yeah.
And it's just like, let's see how this one works out.
Right.
And
yeah.
Again, it's Elon Musk. He's got ulterior motive.
Yes.
He's programming brain chips. He's programming AI bots. Maybe even his Tesla cars. He wants to maybe teach them how to respond to road rage or something. You know, like you can. He's got his AI learning from everything.
Right. No, he definitely has an agenda.
Yes. So that was the first Twitter dump. There was more. Like I think we're up to 5 now.
Okay.
But it gets kind of dicey from here because there was a weird delay between the first and the second. And we got to go to break because we're well over that time. But I want to get into that delay and what happened. And it had to do with the lawyer that you brought up. And so we'll get into that here in just a few minutes. We're going to take 2 or 3 minutes to freshen up, powder our noses. And when we come back, we're going to
take a leak, if you will.
Take a leaky dump, if you would, just like Elon Musk and Twitter. But make it a short one because we'll be back in a couple minutes. We'll be right back.
Have you ever thought that maybe voting, maybe all this politics constantly surrounding you is not the way to achieve freedom in your life? Hi, I'm Remso W. Martinez, and I ask myself the same question. That's why I'm on a journey to find true freedom in my lifetime. From learning about financial independence, to new ways to develop rugged individualism, to amazing guests living strange, crazy, amazing lifestyles that you've only thought might be real, but actually are. Go ahead and check out my new show, On the Run with Remso W. Martinez at the We Are Libertarians Network. You can find On the Run with Remso W. Martinez on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play. You know how the internet works. Come on down and let's discover how to achieve real freedom in your life together.
Hey everybody, I just want to take this time to give a big shout out to the very first sponsor of the Break the Bell podcast. That is Goulash Media. They can be found at goulashmedia.net. Goulash Media specializes in graphic design, web design, audio recordings, video work, wedding videos, music videos, even political campaign videos. Goulash Media caters to the little guy with the big vision. You can check them out at goulashmedia.net. That's GOULASH media.net.
And we're back. Talking about the Twitter dump, the leaky Twitter dump. So, evidence of blatant abuse of the First Amendment, do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know if I'd even call it necessarily, unless you can point out that the government was involved in the suppression of this. I don't think Twitter banning it is suppression of free speech. If now the government came out and was like, you can't allow this article to post. Now that is suppression of free speech.
Yeah.
It is suppression of free speech by the company, but it's not a violation of the First Amendment because
the government.
It's a private platform.
Right, and they can decide what they want to publish.
Yeah, they can. I mean, whether you like it or not, they can say, we're not going to allow this on here.
Right, yeah.
But the problem is everybody always cries election meddling on both sides. And I could see this as some form of blatant election meddling. Now, when a tech company gets so big and powerful and they can blatantly shift votes to their bidding, that's a problem to me.
And I would say Twitter and Facebook are both companies that can do that.
Google is guilty of it too.
Yes.
I mean, they're big enough companies that, big enough platforms that, you can withhold some information and clearly, at least influence the outcome of an election.
Yeah.
Maybe not completely persuade an election, but you can at least influence an outcome of an election.
I would say that they could definitely influence a certain percentage of the population. Especially, I mean, look how many younger people come out and be like, "Well, I saw on TikTok." Right.
It's true, but are those people, even if this story came out, are those same people again, it comes down to, are they still not going to vote? Would they have turned around and voted for Donald Trump because this story came out?
Oh, no, because Donald Trump was the ultimate evil in the world.
Yeah, so
anything used to get Trump out was considered a force of good and worth it.
So I don't know. I'm not saying that they should or shouldn't, or they should have done this. This clearly should not have happened.
Right.
But I don't, and yes, I do think not just this instance. Yeah, this might have, by suppressing this story, it might have had some influence on the election. I don't think it had a major influence because, again, the story became bigger because it got suppressed.
Now, would you say that Hillary's emails influenced the election back in 2016?
I think it influenced a lot of conspiracy theorists.
Sure.
I think by the time the conspiracy theorists got done with it and then the people made it as big as it was, I think the general populace didn't want anything to do with it.
Right.
I don't think it influenced the election.
Because the way I saw this one with the Hunter Biden laptop is a lot like, so in the past, I'm going to use football as an analogy, whereas a game would be influenced by a pass interference call. Okay.
Sure. Okay.
And so people would get pissed and they'd be like, a playoff game should not be decided on a penalty call. And so then it gets to a point where...
So do you just have no penalties in playoff games then? Or?
Well, they do, but when it comes to the last, couple minutes, I think they're really careful with what they call, because they don't want to be that ref that calls a penalty and then all of a sudden the game is decided on that. And so I can see that almost with this. Shit, well, the last election kind of got called on this, so we really want to be careful with what we release on this one.
I feel like they use that as an excuse.
Oh, I agree, and I think they'll keep using that.
I feel like the left used the Hillary emails, and they always will use the Hillary emails as the reason why Hillary lost.
The fact is nobody liked her.
I don't think Hillary lost because of those emails.
No.
I don't think anybody was persuaded to not vote for her because of those emails.
I agree.
think it probably solidified people's hatred of Hillary.
Right.
But again, they can keep pointing back at that and be like, well, obviously, if that hadn't happened, same with like a bad call. Now, did the bad call or did the pass interference call did that in the end determine the game?
No,
maybe not. Maybe you don't know.
Right.
I mean, there's no evidence either way because we can't go back and redo that. Even if we did go back and try to play it out, I mean, all these other outside factors are going to play in that didn't happen. The wind could be different, or the temperature could be. So you can't like go back and in a perfectly redo that scenario to say whether or not it would.
And like a candidate, I would say that a good football team does not win or lose based off of a call like that, right? They find ways to overcome. Hillary was a bad candidate, and that's why that happened. So, but she till the day she dies, she's going to swear that it was Trump and Russian collusion, right?
Yeah, and the email hacks and all. Yeah. And so, I could see where they point back at that for the Hunter Biden laptop. They're like, we lost an election, obviously, because the email hack, Russian hack, collusion, whatever. Do we want this to happen again?
Right.
No, let's suppress this shit.
Right.
So, I mean, if you're on the side that says Hillary only lost because of the email scandal, part of you would be like, suppress these emails.
And I would argue that the majority of the people, including Jim Baker, probably believe that.
Yeah. Oh, obviously.
Yeah.
Now, on the flip side, though, I also don't believe that the Twitter banning this article is what made Joe Biden win. There was so much other forms of cheating out there.
That, exactly. This was very minuscule.
We can't even say that, or we might get kicked off as election deniers. But I feel like there's plenty of cheating on both sides.
Yeah.
And somebody just cheated a little bit better.
Right.
And
we
won.
went through the playbook, so we know how good it was.
Yeah. So you keep bringing up Jim Baker.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, the first batch was released, and then that Taibbi guy was like, second batch to come. Well, there was like quite a significant, like, couple-day delay in the second batch. And it's come out that, because this is how it worked. Elon Musk didn't just release them, like we said.
Right.
And he didn't just hand them off to a reporter. He would turn them over to lawyers who would determine, like, so there's some kind of legal proceeding to turning this over so he couldn't get his ass sued. Turns out one of these lawyers happens to be one of the lawyers that was involved in suppressing the story to begin with, as well as being a top lawyer for the FBI who was involved in the whole Russia collusion story to begin with. And
ironic.
Very, like, small world, you know?
Yeah.
The funny thing is Elon Musk didn't know this when he handed him over. So
really?
Let's get into this story because it says... Elon Musk fires Twitter lawyer Jim Baker, who was involved in censoring the Hunter Biden laptop and the Russian probe. So it says Elon Musk said that Twitter's former deputy general counsel, Jim Baker, so he's like high up on their legal team. Jim Baker was exited from the company on Tuesday after revelations about his role in the platform's handling of the Hunter Biden laptop story. Journalist Matt Taibbi published internal communications over the weekend that took place among Twitter's top brass in October 2020 about how to deal with the New York Post publication of materials on the Hunter Biden laptop. Baker was involved in discussions about whether the laptop falls under Twitter's hacked material policy. So this is a quote from Baker. I support the conclusion that we need more facts to assess whether the materials were hacked. At this stage, however, it's reasonable for us to assume that they may have been and that caution is warranted. So he's pretty much like, we don't know if it's hacked, but I think it's safe to say it was, so let's ban the shit out of this. Baker was responding to a Twitter executive who was wondering whether they could truthfully claim that the laptop story was part of the policy. Before joining Twitter, Baker also worked as general counsel at the FBI, where he was a key figure in the Bureau's investigation into alleged Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election. Attorney Michael Sussman met with Baker in 2016 and presented purported data and white papers that allegedly demonstrated a covert communication channel between the Trump Organization and Alfa Bank, which is based in Russia. So he's a key figure in the whole Russia collusion story.
Yeah.
Like there was handoffs of papers directly to him. He wasn't just like a legal advisor or something. It's like, yeah, maybe this looks. No, he was like, ooh, I got these papers. It says Sussman was accused of telling Baker he was not doing work for any client, but later billing Hillary Clinton campaign for the work. Sussman was acquitted earlier this year on one count of making false statements to the FBI. Baker was also personally involved in the FISA warrant application to surveil Carter Page, who was working as an aide to former President Trump in the 2016 campaign. The application relied heavily on the discredited Trump dossier. Baker later admitted that his role in the Page FISA application was unusual. Taibbi said Tuesday that he and another journalist, Barry Weiss, were dealing with obstacles to new searches when Weiss discovered that Baker was responsible for releasing the files over the weekend. The news that Baker was reviewing the Twitter files surprised everyone involved, to say the least. Musk later, it says Musk tweeted later, but I think it's supposed to be Musk. Musk tweeted later on Tuesday that Baker's explanation for his involvement was unconvincing. Representative James Comer, a Republican from Kentucky, told Fox and Friends on Monday that the House Oversight Committee will likely call Baker and Twitter execs to testify about their handling of the laptop story. So it says Baker and Vijaya Gadde are probably two most high-profile Twitter employees that we want to hear from. So he's pretty heavily involved in this.
Yeah.
Now, again, unknown to Musk, the owner of Twitter,
Right.
handing off, like, he doesn't realize, like, one of the top legal people in his company happens to be one of the most prominent people in this case involving the New York Post, the banning of the New York Post article. He didn't know that?
I believe that.
You do.
I do. Yeah, I do.
You believe that when he handed off to his legal team, this name never came up. Jim Baker never came up.
I believe he probably didn't pay attention. It probably popped up here and there, but I don't think he actually went through it himself.
Is it possible? Is it possible that maybe Musk was like, this guy was involved, I want to fire him, but it's not going to be a big ordeal to just, like, a month ago be like, hey, I'm firing Jim Baker for his because of his mishandling of this thing?
Mm-hmm.
Or does he wait until this Twitter leak comes out and he's like, oh shit, that's the guy, and have this, like, public execution of Jim Baker
and that's,
in the public
that's
square?
possible. That's possible, knowing Musk.
I mean, he calls it the public square,
Right.
so in the public square, we have to have public executions.
Yep.
So the first and foremost being Jim Baker.
Right. There's somebody I got to fire, and I don't know. It's not going to be you, and not going to be you.
I mean, when it comes to a guy that likes to make a big ordeal out of all things,
everything.
This would be how he would do it. He wouldn't be like, I mean, he fired that guy on Twitter.
Right.
I mean, that wasn't a big ordeal, but it was a big ordeal because he fired him on on a Twitter
social
post.
media, yeah.
But then we got this huge guy that not only was part responsible for the censoring of the New York Post thing, he also was heavily involved in the Trump dossier, the Trump-Russia collusion, and all this shit. And so it's just like, I've got my freaking sacrificial lamb right here, and
that's
I'm
possible.
going to make a thing of it. That's the way I see that it probably happened.
And I could see that. I could see that.
And I'm okay with that. This guy deserves to be publicly
absolutely,
lynched.
yeah. He should have.
Not literally, but figuratively publicly.
As a lawyer, and I mean, legal ethics, he should have recused himself and be like, look, I had a lot to do with the whole Russian thing. I need to step down from this. I can't really be involved in it.
But it sounds like it was delayed because he was kind of going through it and seeing
making sure he can't get
making sure it's on the up and up, because I mean, if he had any, like, if he was like throwing out papers or something before he handed him over, then I mean that's a pretty big fucking deal.
It is.
It doesn't say specifically like what he did in this process. It just says he was involved in the handoff between Musk and the reporters, and that just kind of seems like a conflict of interest.
A little bit.
It does make you wonder: is he filtering through it to get rid of anything with his name on it?
Okay, we're gonna shred these, and we're gonna black out this here and this,
redact this here, and so, I mean.
Musk gets in. He's like, I don't know who this lawyer James B is, but man, he's got to go.
Well, it kind of did come down to that. Like, there was like this delay, and Barry Weiss was the one that pointed it out. Supposedly, it was like, what's the holdup? And they're like, well, it's been we're waiting for Jim.
Yeah.
And
He's redacting certain things that he thinks
Yeah,
shouldn't be out.
Barry Weiss, she was like, Jim, like, Jim who? And they're like, Jim B. And they're like, no, Jim who? And they're like, well, it's Jim Baker. And she's like, what?
Yeah.
Jim who? The Jim Baker?
Get him on the phone now.
Yes. Does Musk know about this?
Yeah.
Musk is like, no, I didn't know anything about this. He probably intentionally handed. He's like, Jim, come here.
Yeah.
Look these over. Tell me if there's anything we
His
need to keep
name's
out.
like right on the cover.
Yeah, it's the top email file that was released.
Yeah.
It's like, then Jim Baker said that. He's like, just look this over and hand it off to Barry Weiss and Taibbi. And he's just like, oh, shit. He was, yeah.
Is everything okay? Is there something you see in there?
It's like being handed a gun in Russian roulette. It's just like,
yeah.
like he had to know it was coming.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I do find it bizarre. I think there's more to the fact that Jim Baker worked for the FBI and then went and worked as legal for Twitter than anything else in this. And there's a lot of connections between Twitter and the FBI that, I mean, they're mentioning, but they're kind of, I mean, it's not as big as, oh, free speech suppression and this and that, because there was the one guy, he was a Twitter exec. Apparently, around the election, this Twitter executive met with the FBI on a weekly basis. Like a weekly, and he like bragged about it. His name, it was the Yoel Roth guy. He was in a couple of the communications we read a little bit ago. But this was one of his communications that they released. He says, very boring business meeting that is definitely not about Trump, winky face. Pretty much, he said. I don't know what that was in response to. Then he goes on to say, in all caps, definitely not meeting with the FBI, I swear.
Wow. He's horrible.
He is, I mean, bragging about, hey, Twitter is going back and forth with the FBI. And again, then we saw in the first leak that they're like, there's no real proof that the government was involved in this. But there is proof that that Twitter during that time was having weekly meetings with the FBI, but had nothing. Like, where do you take that when it's almost like they're covering their ass enough to say the government didn't? It was mostly just employees, but the employees were meeting with the government.
Yeah.
Says Roth also cites a weekly sync with FBI, DHS, DNI. In a separate set of messages, and a report from the FBI concerning 2 tweets in another. And I'm pretty sure those 2 tweets were Donald Trump tweets that were in question. That the FBI sent him and was like, hey, look at these. And he's like, got it. It says, this post about the Hunter Biden laptop situation shows that Roth not only met weekly with the FBI and DHS, but with the Office of the Director of National Intelligence. Says the documents also show an unnamed employee asking policy director Nick Pickles. That should be the story in itself. That the policy director's name was Nick Pickles.
Yes, that's on par with the informant Deep Throat.
Yes. Says documents show unnamed employee asking Nick Pickles if Twitter should say the company detects misinfo through ML, human review, and partnerships with, quote unquote, with outside experts. The employee goes on saying, I know that's been a slippery process. Not sure if you want our public explanation to hang on that. So he's like, so we put in our policy that we've detected this as misinfo from partnerships with outside experts. Pickles goes on to ask if they can just say partnerships, adding, I'm not sure we describe the FBI and DHS as experts.
Wow.
So it says the new documents reveal the internal discussions around Twitter's decision to ban former President Donald Trump from the platform after the Capitol riot. One message said, we currently analyze tweets and consider them at a tweet-by-tweet basis, which does not appropriately take into account the context surrounding. It continued, you can use the yelling fire into a crowded theater example. Context matters in the narrative that Trump and his friends have pursued over the course of this election, and frankly, the last 4 years must be taken into account. So, I don't know. You could say that this was just the employees, kind of their biasness doing this, but there's clearly
there's
info
government collusion
coming in from the government, info coming in from
Homeland
the FBI.
and FBI.
I mean, you got like at the time, you had Peter Strzok, who was clearly biased against Donald Trump.
Yes. Yeah.
In the FBI. Well, I guess that was in 2016, but
yeah,
the FBI was known at the time to be clearly, blatantly against Donald Trump, and they didn't care who knew it at the time.
Right, and I would say that those roots probably are still there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think that part's more damning than anything, is that they were weekly meeting with I had a partnership with so-called experts, you know, not calling the FBI and DHS experts, but they were meeting with them to determine certain. I mean, to me, that's more damning than what
I think so
they just
too. But we're
released.
not focusing on that nearly as much.
Yeah, no.
But Taibbi goes on. He says the documents show that in 2020, Twitter was deploying a vast range of visible and invisible tools to rein in Trump's engagement long before January 6th. The ban will come after other avenues are exhausted. So they were trying to get him removed before, like their whole premise of removing him was the inciting of the riots on. I mean, that was just the straw that broke the camel's back. But this says that they were clearly trying to censor him and ban him long before.
That doesn't surprise
months,
me at all.
At least months before January 6th ever even happened. So I don't know. There's a lot of shit here.
Yeah.
So then you get so that was the holdup, was the FBI lawyer guy kind of held up, but then it seems like it's been like every single day they've released another dump. They've taken a daily dump.
That's probably good.
I'm not gonna read thoroughly into them, but like the second one was about visibility filtering or shadow banning.
Right.
So it says, December 8th, Barry Weiss released the second installment addressing a practice referred to as visibility filtering by the previous Twitter management. Weiss said a high-level team known as Site Integrity Policy Escalation Support, which included Twitter's chief legal officer, head of trust and safety, and the CEO, would that have been Jack Dorsey at the time?
I think so, yes.
Was in charge of making decisions about accounts that were politically sensitive, quote unquote. Talked specifically about the libs of TikTok being banned for kind of making fun of transgenders and stuff like that.
Sure.
Says Weiss contrasted this with the decision by Twitter to not delete a tweet containing the address of Chaya Raychik, the account owner. Weiss characterized the practice as an act of censorship. So, calling shadow banning an act of censorship.
Right.
After Weiss' presentation, Musk then tweeted that former CEO Jack Dorsey has a pure heart and was unaware of systemic bias. Again, kissing Jack Dorsey's ass, which I find really weird.
Well, I mean, I think they're part of that tech circle, that they all hang out together.
Now, Weiss says that this is an act of censorship. Compare this to what it says down the last sentence in this paragraph. It says, journalists note that the old system of downranking or shadow banning is similar to what Musk now considers a policy of freedom of speech, but not freedom of reach. So his policy is, yeah, you can say what you want, but we're not going to monetize it. We're not going to allow it to go shadow banning is what he's saying.
Right.
So I don't even know why they're calling out shadow banning when Musk already is calling out his own policy of shadow banning.
Right.
So this isn't even a smoking gun here because we all knew shadow banning exists.
And it's almost like, Musk is like, well, this is common, Main Street here, and we're not going to censor, but like they said there, well, freedom of speech, but not freedom of reach. So you can go say what you want. We'll say it.
Basically what we said, just organic transmission. But that's not what he's saying. He's basically implementing the same policies.
Exactly.
I mean, it is the journalist that's calling the censorship, not Elon Musk.
Right.
But that journalist should turn around and be like, and also Elon Musk is planning on doing the same thing.
Right, exactly.
Shadow banning sucks, and Elon Musk doesn't plan to change that from what it sounds.
Right.
The third installment talks about says the issues regarding the applications of standards and policies at Twitter. Says Taibbi reported that then head of trust and safety for Twitter, Yoel Roth, met on a regular basis with the FBI. We talked about that. Roth told the Times that the meeting, which also included executives from Facebook, Google, and other major tech companies, were intended to coordinate efforts to prevent foreign influence and domestic disinformation in U.S. elections. So, hey, we talked about that. That was right in the Time article, like the FBI and the agencies meeting up with the tech agencies to combat
disinformation
in U.S. elections. Yeah, so again, no smoking gun there.
Right.
The fourth talks about Twitter employees reacted to January 6th attack on the Capitol and the conflict within the company about how to take action against the tweets and Twitter users who were supporting the insurrection without a specific policy as its backing. So the problem was, we don't have a policy saying, hey, you can't support an insurrection.
Right.
There's no Twitter policy in place here. So it sounds like they came to like emergency protocols
right,
and said, oh, well, now you can't, because they blacklisted like hashtag stop the steal, hashtag the Kraken. You remember the Kraken hashtag?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Both of which were associated with supporters of January 6th insurrection. He also said the pressure from companies' employees appeared to influence Jack Dorsey to approve the repeat offender policy for permanent suspension. After receiving 5 strikes as per the new policy, Trump's personal account was permanently suspended on January 8th. According to Schellenberg, employees frequently flagged tweets and applied strikes at their own discretion. So it sounds like, again, it's all the employees.
Right.
Jack Dorsey did, like,
Right.
the employees
He had no
pressured.
idea what was going on.
Well, at this point, they pressured Jack Dorsey, hey, you got to implement this 5-strike policy or whatever so we can ban Donald Trump.
So what's the odds that Dorsey gave all this stuff to Musk and was like, hey, just keep me out of it?
Now, at one point, I saw when he was, after the first leak happened, Jack Dorsey had tweeted out, I think he tweeted, it was like, okay, now release everything. Just release it all. Like, make it all public. And so he's on board with all of this thing.
Yeah.
So
if you're a former employee of his, wouldn't you be a little
irritated, a little pissed off? Yes. What's your opinions of Jack Dorsey in all of this? Do you think he's as innocent in it? He was just up there like, well, I didn't know. It was all my employees were doing all this on their
guys
own.
like Jack Dorsey and Elon Musk, their hands are not clean.
They're pretty hands-on.
They know what
shit.
the hell's going on. Yeah.
Now, I do believe that the employees probably did have the free will to apply, flag tweets at their own bidding.
Yeah.
And that comes down to, again, it's like, well, who decides what's okay and what's not? Because now we're just basing it off of Joe, who's in a pissed off mood. He's just pissed off. He's like, banned.
Yeah.
You're banned. No, you're banned. He's just like, he's not even looking. He's like, I'm just banning all these assholes. It's like there's no clear-cut policy, and they're just making up shit on the fly. You can see it all through this. It's like, well, we could base it on this and say that our experts said, well, do we want... And you can see how they're like squirming in their seats, knowing how the press might react to it. Well, what if they find out that it was really the FBI? Or do we really want to hang ourselves with that news?
Yeah. Right. And then they're like, but nobody really knows we're affiliated with the FBI. And then Yul Roth is like, well, I kind of said something.
I kind of was.
Damn it, Yul.
I told you not to post those emails.
Yeah. Well, I put a winky face.
Yeah, that's what matters. So, smoking guns yet? Yes, no?
The FBI thing, but like you said, that's not something that anybody's focusing on.
Now, what about the January 6th stuff, the scrambling to find reasons to ban Trump?
I mean, we all knew that stuff.
Yeah. That's the whole thing with this. Like, none of this fucking matters.
Right.
Because
nothing is jaw-dropping. Nothing is, like, what?
And the shit that we would be like, oh, that's a thing.
Yeah.
They're like, well, there's no affiliation with the government,
though.
So, or no evidence of affiliation with the government, even though there was direct meetings between the FBI, and the FBI did say, hey, check out this account here.
Right, yeah. Hey, what do you think about what Trump said right here? That's kind of, don't you think, I mean, if you read that and you didn't know him, wouldn't you kind of think something's wrong? Because it pisses me off.
Yeah, the whole thing, I mean, it's infuriating. The whole thing's infuriating.
But again, nothing is surprising to us.
The things that they don't address, though, in these Twitter leaks, and maybe there's more to come, I don't know. The Burisma connection. Like, they talk about the Hunter Biden laptop, but they never bring up too much about what the story was about. And again, I mean, there's no email traffic, I guess, to say, hey, this is a real thing. But that's the things I don't want to know about them, the things I already know.
Those are the emails that Jim Baker said, shred it.
Put through in the shredder.
Exactly.
Redacted, yeah. The Biden connection, the big guy connection, that's the stuff.
Right.
That would be the smoking gun to me. Now, when Elon Musk comes out and is like, you know what? We got a smoking gun here. Like, here's the Burisma connection. Then I'll be like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Something big just happened.
Right.
Now, when you're coming out and be like, I've got the scoop, guys. Twitter was shadow banning right-wing Twitter users.
Right.
It's like,
okay.
and?
Yeah, right.
Twitter intentionally blocked the New York Post article. It's like, we know.
Right.
The New York Post came out and said it. Twitter came out and said it.
Yeah.
We got email traffic of how they were discussing blocking this. And it was based on maybe some outside influence from the FBI. It's like, we know.
Right.
They were flying by the seat of their pants on January 6th, coming up with...
Because we didn't have policy. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we know that.
Everybody's
I want to
doing
know about the Biden connection.
Yeah. Right.
But now, when the other side is coming out and reporting on Elon Musk's leaky dump here, they're glossing this over because they're like, no, what they're considering, like, they're glossing over the fact that the Burisma connection's even there. And that's what this whole article is about. Because they're like, now, do we really want to, like, does free speech really include, like, dick pics of Hunter Biden? Because that's all the story's about. That's literally what they're saying.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they're
like,
downplaying it big time.
Here's an article here. No, you don't have a constitutional right to post Hunter Biden's dick pic on Twitter.
What's the site?
Thebulwark.com.
Okay.
So this article is ridiculous because it downplays the whole article. It says, while normal humans who denied Republicans their red wave were enjoying an epic sports weekend, an insular community of MAGA activists and online contrarians led by the world's richest man, for now, were getting riled up about a cache of leaked emails revealing that the former actor James Wood and Chinese troll accounts were not allowed to post ill-gotten photos of Hunter Biden's hog on a private company's microblogging platform 25 months ago.
Yeah, makes it look like
I don't feel like anybody was upset about that.
Right.
It says, now if you're one of the normals, someone who would never think about posting another person's penis on your social media account, has no desire to see politicians' kids. I like how they say kid.
Yeah, right.
He's an adult. He's like a very like a middle-aged adult.
Yeah.
Kid's penis when scrolling media doesn't understand why there are people out there who care one way or another about the moderation policies surrounding stolen penis photos, or can't even figure out what it is that I'm talking about, then this might seem like a gratuitous matter for an article. Sadly, it's not. Because among Republican members of Congress, leading conservative media commentators, contrarian substackers, that's what they're calling the Taibbi guy. He's a contrarian substacker. Right. He used to be a very hot shit left-leaning journalist, but now he's just a contrarian substacker. Conservative tech bros and friends of Donald Trump, the ability to post Hunter Biden's cock shots on Twitter is the #1 issue in America this weekend.
Wow.
I like how they're we're sitting here, we're like, there's not really much of a story here. And when they come out with an article like this, it's just like, they're clearly, they want something, they want your attention off of something.
Yeah.
So it makes you want to read into it more, because they're like, well, all these Republicans want is the right to be able to post dick pics of.
If you're a Republican, libertarian, or yes, but if you're a Democrat, then you're like, why the hell do they want to see Hunter Biden's dick?
Yeah, and the thing is, the whole premise, the whole Twitter leak started with the New York Post article. Yeah. Yes, the Hunter Biden laptop did have Hunter Biden's dick pics on it, as most politicians' laptops do. But very little in the New York Post talked talked about raunchy photos, I think is what I read.
Yeah,
It just
that's all it said
mentioned
was raunchy photos.
But this comes out, it's like all these Republicans want the right to be able to post.
And that's where they come off being like, who cares what a politician's kid does?
Yeah,
right?
exactly. But they're nothing on here mentions, a big part of this laptop was the connection between the President of the United States and foreign agencies and foreign businesses and foreign governments.
Biden was using his son to do pay-to-play with all these foreign entities.
Or in the very least, his son was using Biden
to
gain influence and gain money.
Yeah.
Says on Friday, Elon Musk promised to reveal what really happened with the Hunter Biden story suppression by Twitter. It turns out that he had provided a trove of internal corporate documents to the Tulsi Gabbard of Substack, Matt Taibbi, who said they amounted to a unique and explosive story, revealing the juicy details inside Twitter's decision to suppress the New York Post Hunter Biden laptop story, which had previously been rejected by liberal outlets, like such liberal outlets as Fox News and Wall Street Journal. That's obviously sarcasm. Due to its suspicious provenance. Taibbi agreed to divulge these private emails on Twitter itself rather than his Substack as part of a few conditions, which he does not detail, blah, 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 I don't care. The document Taibbi tweeted on Friday were titillating in the way that reading private correspondence revealing what people were really saying around a controversial subject always is. But nothing new was learned about the contours of the story, like we said. We didn't learn anything new. The leak mostly relitigates two facts that have already received much ink across media. How Twitter throttled the New York Post initial story, and number two, how political campaigns and government agencies have worked with social media companies, in this case Twitter, to flag troubling content.
And they're right in both those.
Yes. Let's get down to the juicy parts. Let's see, because it talks about... It says the most retweeted installment in Taibbi's thread so far was this, which purported to show Biden's campaign directing Twitter to delete specific tweets. We read this one.
Yeah.
Talked about how they said more to review from the Biden team, and they came back and said it was handled. Now, the problem is these tweets here, those like 5 tweets that were handled, were dick pics of Hunter Biden, apparently.
Oh, gotcha.
Says the supposed smoking gun resulted in Musk responding to his own journalistic stenographer on Twitter with a fire emoji and the comment, if this isn't a violation of the Constitution's First Amendment, what is? It says right-wing commentators Buck Sexton, which is his real name apparently, who cares, said this was a bright red line violation, but Biden should be impeached for it. The offending material that Taibbi revealed was removed by Twitter at the Biden campaign's request turns out to have been a bunch of links to Hunter Biden in the buff. Now, this is where maybe Elon Musk should have paid attention before he responded and said, this is a clear violation, because then we get fodder like this, bullshit like this, where it's like all this is links to a Chinese account that linked to a Hunter Biden sex tape. And they're like, well, clearly Elon Musk thinks banning Hunter Biden's sex tape is a violation of free speech. And now we made this whole 18-paragraph article about how all Republicans want to do is see Hunter Biden's dick.
Right.
And this could have been avoided if Elon Musk maybe understood what those tweets were before responding to it. It's maybe don't jump the gun and respond.
Right.
Maybe just post the shit out there and don't give your commentary on it, but again, they're glossing over the whole rest of the facts of this whole story
and why it matters,
and saying Republicans just want to see Hunter Biden's dick. And isn't that weird that they just want to see a politician's kid's penis?
Right, yeah.
It's gross how they word that too.
It is. Of course, using the word kids instead of, I don't know, child.
Or
not even that. There's son, no way to say
son.
Adult son.
Yeah,
adult son.
Clearly, adult son. I don't know. So, I mean, on both sides, the Elon Musk crew is making this into this giant story, which it's not.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the giant story would be find the information about Burisma. Find the connection here, and then come out and release your WikiLeaks type style dump.
Which
it's like Elon Musk wants to be the next WikiLeaks, like the next Julian Assange.
Right.
He wants to have that notoriety without. But he's the one that's like, let's have my legal team look over this first to make sure it's on the up and up. It's like Julian Assange didn't give two shits about, obviously. I mean, he's been in prison for fucking 10 years.
Right. Yeah.
And on his deathbed because he just wants the information out. And Elon Musk is like, I can do that, but I'm not going to go to jail for it.
I'm going to have my legal team look at it first.
And I'm going to make sure I don't say, like, I don't directly say the government was involved, and I'm going to make sure I don't implicate Jack Dorsey because he's really rich and he could sue the shit out of me. And I'm going to make sure we gloss over this.
Right.
I don't know.
So, Musk is trying to be the hero of the people, but he's trying to do it in a very safe way.
Yeah.
So.
Bring back Julian Assange.
Yeah.
Get rid of Elon Musk.
And
Fuck
again,
Elon Musk. Bring back Julian Assange.
Nothing he has released has been jaw-dropping. Nothing he has released has been a game changer.
No.
It's all stuff that everybody already knows. And like you said, if he really wanted to make a big difference, post the actual article, right? And talk about it now. So, but now, because my understanding is that they are that the Justice Department is now looking at Hunter Biden.
But the Justice Department has been looking at Hunter Biden, and Hunter Biden came out this week. Let me see if I have this article. Hunter Biden came out this week and unveiled a new $225,000 painting.
Oh, I wonder if Zelensky will buy that.
Well, they have unnamed specified. They have like 2 or 3 buyers that are unnamed and unspecified. So I mean, they can keep saying that they're looking at Hunter Biden all they want, but Hunter Biden's still money laundering his shitty paintings out there. He's still. I mean, somebody even came out and was like, some art pro guy came out and was like, no, I mean, it's bad when you have to defend his artwork as legit artwork because the guy's like, no, I've known Hunter Biden. He's been painting for like decades now, so he's the real deal, guys. He's not money laundering, guys. This is real art.
Don't read anything else into it than art.
But just the fact that it garners $225,000.
Yeah, right.
I mean, how many art pieces do you know that garner $225,000?
Nobody with both their ears.
I mean, that's $250,000. What's that painting here in Iowa?
The American Gothic?
Yeah. What's that? I wonder what that sold for. The Grant Wood one.
Yeah.
American Gothic. Grant Wood. Well, a Grant Wood landscape sold for $6 million.
Okay.
I don't think that's
it.
No. It probably hasn't sold in a long time. But either way, you're talking American Gothic, like you probably $4 or $5 million, I would think.
I would think so, yeah.
$4 million. Hunter Biden, who's known for being Hunter Biden, paint something worth $250,000.
Yeah.
I think it's more sketchy that they refuse. They don't have to give the buyers. If you don't want to, if you don't want us to think that there's something shady going on here, maybe you should like reveal, hey, this was bought by so and so, or it was bought by Jeffrey Epstein, or so.
Yeah, no, I think there's value in that.
Anyways,
I don't see anything.
Anyways, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Either way, all that to say, Hunter Biden's shitty paintings aren't worth $250,000.
No.
Unless.
Oh, hell no.
Unless it somehow gets you some kind of connections with the big guy, which is probably more of the case. I don't know how... Oh, you had brought up the Justice Department looking into Hunter Biden. Basically, they've been looking into Hunter Biden, and where has that come? Where has that gone? Where has that gotten us? Caden's here. Says, SBF got arrested. Did you guys see that? Holy shit. SBF, the guy from...
Yes, the FTX.
FTX guy.
Yeah.
Huh.
I did see that.
God, I'm going to have to look into that. I haven't. I've been too focused on Hunter Biden today to look at. I'll have to get back into that. I wonder, there's got to be an SBF Hunter Biden connection. Maybe SBF bought Hunter Biden's $250,000 painting and sold it to Zelensky through FTX.
Yeah, right. He probably has a couple.
Oh, yeah. So we got to wrap this thing up. We're out of time. It's funny we did this whole story on such a nothing sandwich.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this big Twitter leak,
Right,
which
right.
was nothing.
Yeah.
But
And yeah, again, it's just, as far as I'm concerned, it's just like fluff.
now this is intriguing to me. This post by Elon Musk, he came out on the 10th, so 2 days ago, and said Twitter is both a social media company and a crime scene. Now,
Interesting.
he's saying is. That means his company's still a crime scene, which I find it bizarre that he worded it that way. But it makes me wonder, is there more yet to come? Or is he like keeping us on the edge of our seat?
I think
thinking,
so, yeah. I think there's going to be a lot more dumps coming.
Do you think it will be anything actually a story, or do you think it'll be more of what we got here?
I think it's more of a nothing sandwich.
You think so?
Yeah.
Do we trust this? Do we trust Elon Musk? Have we come to that conclusion?
I think we both agree that we don't.
Well, the guy that wants to put brain chips in our head is hard to trust.
Yeah,
him.
right.
The guy that wants to, implement, the guy that says he's only working on AI because he feels AI is so dangerous, so he has to work on the anti-AI to save us from the bad AI.
Yes.
I mean, that's sketchy to me. There's something sketchy about this guy. He's touted as the richest white nationalist, which I haven't seen any proof that he's any form of
he's not a white
nationalist,
nationalist.
other than the fact that he's kind of agreed with some things that Trump agrees with. I wouldn't say he's even agrees with Trump.
I was going to say.
He says some things that Trump might say, but I don't know about this guy. I really don't.
Yeah.
And I thought this was going to be a juicy thing that I'm just like, this is the big one. This is what's going to get me on the Musk train is when he releases this big juicy thing.
Right.
I mean, that's what I remember back during the election. I was like, when Donald Trump does this, when he releases this information, or when he frees Julian Assange, that's when I will say, I'll vote for Donald Trump. Hands down. If he pardoned Julian Assange, I promise you I would have voted
Edward
for
Snowden.
two. I think I said both. It would have to be a 2-for-1 package. Like Edward Snowden and Julian Assange, pardon them, let them speak freely, let them even have a podium to talk about shit, and then I will vote for Donald Trump. He didn't do that.
Right.
He pardoned his own friends, his own buddies and stuff.
Right, yeah.
Like who was?
He
he pardoned Stone.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Stone and his other buddy.
His counterparts. The people that were probably in on the same shit that he was in.
Right.
So it's just like, no, this guy's only in it for himself.
Right.
Now, when Elon Musk comes out and, I don't know, like reveals the actual Biden-Ukraine connection, the Hunter Biden, like China connections, or the money laundering, or even if he comes out and exposes the Trump collusion, if Elon Musk had some solid proof of Trump-Russian collusion or Trump-China collusion or Trump whatever, like crime spree, like somebody come out and actually give some evidence that's not just partisan bickering, like, well, obviously Trump colluded with Russia because Trump is Donald Trump and he loves Russians. That's not good enough for me. And yet, even the Biden stuff, the Hunter Biden emails there are enough for me to believe it, but that's not enough to convict on, obviously.
Right. And with my impression with Musk is he's almost like coming across as almost like a double agent. You know, he gives just enough information for you to think that he's on your side, but not enough to really give you like the meat and potatoes of it.
Right.
So
I don't know. I don't trust him.
I don't either.
I mean, he's got, in that picture, he's got Baphomet on his shirt, so we can't trust the guy at all.
That's obviously,
I don't know. He's a billionaire. He got there somehow, making shady deals with somebody. So he's got some kind of connections to the inner circle himself. So I don't know. Do something real. Do something brave, Elon.
Exactly. Put yourself out there.
Yeah, do something.
You haven't done that yet.
Yeah, do something that might get you like shit on totally, like, or thrown it. You know, like take some risk, because from what I see, you're not taking any fucking risk. You're weeding through it, making sure we can release the things. I mean, it's no different than you remember Trump releasing the JFK files. It's just like, I'm going to release all the JFK files, and then he's like, well, not these ones because these are really dangerous to the government. It's like, those are the ones I want.
I know, exactly.
That was the other thing. If he would have just blanket released all the JFK docs without any redaction, without taking like, well, I got to take a year to look over these things, Or if you reelect me,
Yeah,
I
right.
will
Then
release,
I'll release
the rest of the
everything.
documents,
Yeah.
and they are. I'm telling you, it's a doozy.
Yeah.
And then we didn't reelect him. And he's like, "Gotcha. You don't get it. This is
You had
mine."
your chance. You had your chance.
Yes.
Biden's not going to release it.
Yeah. That still hurts to this day.
Yes, I know it
And
does.
Elon Musk, I feel, is that way. He's
Yes.
just like, I'm just gonna release this as it helps Twitter. I'm not gonna release anything that damages Twitter's reputation too much.
Right.
So I don't know.
But it's all about transparency. We want you to trust us again.
Obviously.
Right.
So final thoughts. What is his reasoning for this dump? This leaky dump?
He wants
Juicy
to,
leaky
yeah,
dump.
he wants to appear to be this bastion of free speech. That's all this is perception.
Yeah.
And but like you said, nothing he's releasing is a shock to anybody.
No. And I mean, actions speak louder than words. When you come out publicly and say, "Nope, not going to allow Alex Jones back on," just because.
I mean, it would be refreshing if this Matt, what's his name, Taibbi was like, "Yeah, this is all junk. Give me something real. Give me the juice." I mean, do you think anybody saw this and was like, "Oh my gosh"?
Oh, the MAGA people were.
Yeah,
They're like, "This is the smoking gun right here.
Yeah, but they see a smoking gun. And...
Suspend the Constitution.
Right.
Reinstate Trump in all his
Right.
glory."
Yeah.
I mean, they see anything that's just
Yeah.
like, I mean, again, we knew about shadow bans.
Right.
We knew about the banning of the New York Post. We knew about the kicking Trump off Twitter.
Right.
We
Yeah.
just got email confirmation.
Right. Yeah. Right.
that,
yeah.
that. It's just like, wait for the email confirmation, and it's just like, okay, we got the receipt, pretty much. That's it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah. Thanks, Elon.
Thanks. Thanks for such a disappointing
Yes.
dump. I wanted a more juicy dump than what you offered, but maybe next
something
time.
more
Now
satisfying.
this post here, like I said, that he says it's a crime scene. Maybe something.
Maybe.
He keep us on the edge of our seat, I guess.
But then it makes me think that he's playing this like a soap opera.
Oh yeah.
Right? Stay tuned. Same Elon time.
Well, you saw
same Elon channel.
you saw how Taibbi led into it.
Right,
It's
yeah.
like in
Number
a world
one.
where Twitter was built on the premise of free speech and open communication, then one day it devolved into it's just like
It's a circus.
just
release it.
Just give us the
Get to
information.
it.
We don't need
the Pulitzer buildup.
yes. We don't need the big intro music playing with like the
right.
Star Wars theme music in the background.
Strolling. It was a dark and stormy
Yes.
night.
No, just say it. Just like, here's an email that this guy
Yeah.
said. Isn't that juicy? And she's like, not really.
Yeah.
Not really. And so maybe he felt like, there's nothing here.
Right.
I got to make this
This
bigger.
look good.
I got to make this bigger than it. I mean, this has my name on it.
Yeah.
I got to make this something.
In a world of darkness, there's a watcher on the wall.
His name is Elon Musk. And Jack Dorsey had a pure heart. I can't believe Elon Musk said he had a pure heart.
Right.
That's how you know you're full of shit.
Yeah,
Nobody
exactly.
has a fucking pure
Especially
heart.
if you're a billionaire.
Nobody has a
what
fucking pure-
billionaire has a pure heart? He sold his soul to the devil a long time
Yes.
ago.
That's all the time we have. We're well over our time for this episode. We talked about massive, juicy, leaky dumps that weren't as juicy and massive as we had hoped.
Yeah.
It was kind of, I don't know, it was
It
kind of a
wasn't even that
shart.
leaky,
It was
to
a
be
shart.
honest. Yeah,
I'd say it was
definitely.
a shart.
Definitely.
Like one of those, it's just like where you wish you could take it back, but I mean, is it really going to ruin your day?
Not really.
Not too much.
Yeah, but you still got to live with the stink.
Yeah, we had a feeling it was coming, but
Yes.
we took a chance on it, and a little bit leaked.
Yeah,
and
and now
this
it's
is gross.
there.
This is gross. We got to go. Next week, on that note, December 19th.
Yes.
Monday.
It will not be a chart.
It will not. It will be extravagant. Extravagant. Our third annual Christmas extravaganza next weekend, or not, I keep saying weekend.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I don't know why. Next Monday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, we will be joined by Dan Smotz of the System Is Down podcast and Dave motherfucking Casey of the Dave vs. Goliath podcast. will be joining us on that Christmas special, and it's going to be fun. And I have specials lined up, special guests lined up, special happenings. I can't divulge any of it, but it will be awesome. So you better freaking be there.
I don't even know.
And you don't. It's that big of a surprise.
Yes.
Invite your friends and your family, because this is good family-oriented Christmas. Like,
is it family-oriented?
I mean, if your family's a bunch of freaking degenerates like us, then absolutely. That's my style of family. If you have degenerates in your family, invite them along, because this is going to be fucking fun.
Yes. So put the chestnuts on the open fire and grab the eggnog.
Put something. Put your nuts on the open fire. Grab your eggs, your eggnog. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna have some special spiked eggnog.
Yes.
At least the two of us will.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna mail.
I'm gonna make some. I'm bringing in Christmas cookies.
You better freaking bring in Christmas.
I am bringing them in.
Christmas extravaganza number 3. It's gonna be a blast. Be there. Don't miss it. Check us out all over social media. Share this, spread this far and wide, as far as you can see, and even further, because that's how we get to do bigger and better things, and our reach spreads. If you spread our reach spreads. That's how this works.
I like it.
Share, like, and subscribe. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at our handle, which is @BreakTheBellPod. You can find links to everything we do at breakthebellpod.com. You can find our store, our Patreon account, all that fun stuff. breakthebellpod.com. Make sure you're here next week for that Christmas extravaganza. I can't express this enough, because it's the highlight of the year. We start planning this. At least I start planning this. As soon as one ends, I'm planning the next one.
Yes.
So make sure you're there. December 19th, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. We will catch you next time. Don't miss that. Have a great rest of your week.
Yes. Peace.
Goodbye.
The Break the Bell podcast is brought to you by you. So pat yourself on the back, because without you, we would be talking to ourselves. A special thanks to our Patreon members, Justin Zielinski, Remzo Martinez, Stephanie Parker, and T.O. Jacobson. A shout out to our sponsors, Run Your Mouth Coffee, the On the Run podcast, and Goulash Media. If you'd like to help support us, visit patreon.com/breakthebell or buy our garbage at breakthebell.bigcartel.com. Get back here next week and let us continue to invade your ear holes. And as always, never stop talking.